Right now, the only crash I see on the major roads and interstates is going to be on 24. That's going to be the East Loop going eastbound downtown, right there at James Robertson Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day after 20 hours of what was rest and relaxation. We're back at it. It's 3:06, and we thank you for being a part of the show today. Episode 759, and they said it wouldn't last. It is Locks for Trump Day 362. We'll make it to a year, but not much beyond that. More on that coming up in just a few minutes. As we say, welcome, welcome, one and all. What a beautiful, gorgeous Chamber of Commerce-like day. My biggest question for you right now involves my Instagram account. My biggest
Oh, boy, here we go again. Is this not over yet?
No.
You didn't get this all fixed?
Well, the Facebook thing's still screwed up.
Really?
And everything else is repaired and fine. But now right before we came on air. By the way, there's Chris Weber. Hey, Chris Weber.
Hi.
How's it going?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Ken Weaver behind the glass. He's in News Closet B. He's gathering headlines as we speak. He's digging through that Epstein report.
Good afternoon, boys. Yes.
Hello, Mr. Weaver.
Hello.
So here's the deal, fellas. I just got this email from Instagram.
Are you sure it's from Instagram?
Security@mail.instagram.com.
All right.
Hi, Matt Murphy Show. We recently sent you an email to unlock your Instagram account, which I did yesterday.
Yeah.
If you haven't yet, please reset your password before the link expires in 24 hours. And I think I did that. But I don't know that I did it specifically after I put in the code to reset it. I did it before I put in the code to reset it. So should I do it again?
Or you could just log out and log back in with your new password. And if it works, then you know you changed it.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to all of you that this has been going on for 3 days. I'm so sorry that I'm such an idiot about all of this. I don't know what to tell you. I just don't understand technology. I'm an old man sitting on a front porch with a shotgun in my lap, and I'm angry, and I'm going to shoot somebody.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. Thursday, February 27th. That's what today is. It is a good day. We've got 4 hours to go. We're going to break it all down for you. We'll take your telephone calls at 615-737-9986. If you want to call us and opine on any issue of the day, if you want to scream and yell about the absence of the Epstein files, have at it. 615-737-9986. And there's also the super text line where you can share your thoughts. You can curse over there. Don't curse on the phone lines. We still have these FCC regulations, don't you know? Although, you know what I heard the other night on network television? We watch at the Murphy compound. The wife likes to watch this Will Trent.
Will Trent.
Will Trent. And I've seen a few episodes. It's a pretty good show. It's one of these detective shows. It's a new version of the quirky detective show, right?
Okay.
Columbo, Kojak.
Who
Monk.
loves you, baby?
Monk is a good one. To a certain degree, the Law and Order Special Victims with that fella, Leonardo.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. What I said.
Uh-huh. You were going for DiCaprio.
I don't know what I was doing. But, yeah, it's like that. So he's like a quirky detective guy. But it's a good show. And hell, I forgot what I was saying now. Damn it.
Well, it had something to do with foul language.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Have I said I'm sorry yet? It's going to be one of those days. My left ear is stopped up, and that's going to cause me problems all day. Because when the left ear is stopped up, I list. And then, when you start listening to the left on this radio show,
hard to recover.
Hard to come back from that. No, they said a-hole.
Oh.
like the word.
On network TV?
On network television. And I thought that was a no-go.
What time? Was this after 9 o'clock?
I think that show's at 8 o'clock. But I think the standards are, there was a time where you couldn't say the D word. Which is, I say that on our
Like
show.
Dick Cheney?
No, not that one.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about damn.
Oh.
There was a time where, I was growing up.
Yeah, you didn't say that.
Where you didn't say that, and then those became, pretty normal. And then now you can say Dick Cheney all you want, and you can get away with that. And really now, outside of there's the two biggies.
Yeah. Well, even though cable has never really been had the same strictures as the networks, cable is like the Wild West now. Anything goes on cable television.
Well, and they took great delight. Remember that congressman a couple of weeks ago, or maybe just a week ago, that used the D word? Yep. And they took delight quoting it.
Throwing it around.
Oh, just tossing it around like it's nothing.
Yep.
And now we got the and I'm not one to talk, y'all. I've got a potty mouth, and I know that. And if you go over to my social, I say it right there. It's in my bio. Mm-hmm. So y'all have no excuses. If you go over to the @Matt Murphy Show X account, it says, been known to cuss. Because I cuss a lot. But anyway, I was just surprised. They're throwing that around. Well, I could say a few curses about the Epstein files or the lack thereof. We're going to get into that first hour. It's just no good. Donald Trump has a good week coming. Well, he's had a pretty good week. He got invited to a second state dinner by King Charles, which still seems weird to say.
Charles?
Yeah, it seems weird.
Yeah.
It just seems weird. But he had that state dinner invite extended to him today as the British Prime Minister came over and said hello. He was visited by French President Macron.
Macron. Here's what's funny.
Oui, oui.
Trump's going to troll all those people about kings. He's going to say one king meeting another.
From one king to the next. You look great, Charles. Can I call you Charlie? You call me Donnie, I call you Charlie. Two kings.
Oh. You hook me up with your crown maker? A nice crown.
It looks great. I'm gonna need mine a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. Troll them, man. Troll them. For the great week that the president has had, and it should continue. Tomorrow you have the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, talking mineral rights with the United States of America. We hope that's going to further the conversation on peace between Ukraine and the Russians. That's what we all want, after all, is it not? You continue to see, dare I say, Doge doing its job. By the way, hour of Doge coming up in just a couple of minutes. No, it's okay. It's only official until I declare it the hour of Doge. And then it's on. Right. You got that going on, and we've got a lot of successes in that realm. But in some ways, it's been, for me, just kind of a frustrating week on two fronts. One, and it's a very minor thing, and it's not a hill that I'm dying on, but Andrew Tate and his brother are scumbag human beings. They treat women like property. They talk about women like their property. They talk in ways that you hear in these radical Muslim-dominated countries about how women are to be treated as a man's property, and the woman is to do exactly for the man and to the man what the man demands of her and subjugate herself to. That's the way the Tate people talk. Now, they're being accused it's Hungary or Romania, I forget which. It's one of those two. They've been accused of sex trafficking and whatever, and the people that want to defend the Tates, that's not true, that's not real, whatever. They're scummy people regardless, and they are now coming back to the United States of America, and it's believed that someone in the White House had a hand in making this happen, and if that's the case, I just don't care for it. Now, if we're just trying to get our American citizens back home so that we can prosecute them ourselves, maybe that's a different matter. I don't know. But you got that, and that's a side matter. I don't want to get into it too deeply because it really doesn't matter. These are two nobody, good-for-nothing human beings that need to be treated like the trash that I consider them to be. Then there's the matter of Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files. I don't know how much the president of the United States has had to do with any of this, but my goodness gracious. I just don't care for it. I don't care for how this is going down. I was not expecting that much. I was not expecting nearly what some of you guys might have been expecting. Certainly not nearly as much as what some commentators on social media platforms and on talk radio were expecting. I was expecting that we would learn a few other details outside of what we learned in the I always mix up her name. Is it Maxwell, her last name? Ghislaine Maxwell. We learned a lot of this in her trial. Not everything. The flight logs, some of that has come out. I posted a great thread from the Business Insider website on a lot of this stuff that you can go and read right now. You can find a lot of this stuff out right now as we speak. But I don't for the life of me understand what's going on regarding Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, Kash Patel, the Director of the FBI, and the Epstein files. We were told repeatedly that we would get them. Look, if you didn't know that we were or would not get them, if you don't know, just say, I don't know yet. We have to examine them. We have to figure out what we are allowed to release, what we're not allowed to release, what has to be classified, what doesn't have to be classified. And then you figure it out from there. But either way, if you've built this thing up to the point that you've built it up, why in the world are you not holding a press conference? Why in the world are you not? There's enough attention on this stuff, and the powerful and the elite are expected to be included in these files. And we want to know if there is equal justice among all men in the United States of America. That is the point. Do the powerful and wealthy and elite get a pass when it comes to dragging their asses through the mud or not? And we were told that they wouldn't. We were told that justice applies to all of us, regardless of how much money you got, regardless of how much power you got, and we were lied to. And I'm pissed about it. Because it's the same old song and dance. We've heard this crap forever. It's the same old garbage. Oh, well, we've got to go through it. Oh, man, you got to understand. And then you release it to some goober heads coming out of the White House with manila folders and little file folders in their hands. Yay! Like it's 1974 and they're on a school field trip. What are you doing? This isn't amateur hour. Children were raped. I mean, you want to put it down. I know I'm mad and I know I'm yelling. You want to get it down there the way the goats can graze on it? Jeffrey Epstein was accused of taking incredibly powerful people on his airplane who paid him tremendous amounts of money to make investments for them to an island where they had sex with 14-year-old children. And he filmed them having sex with 14-year-old children to compromise them. I would like to know who those people were and whether or not they're still in powerful posts. I would like for those people to spend the rest of their lives on planet Earth in unmitigating pain and shame. That's what I want. And for some reason, we get all these promises. We get all these promises, and it doesn't pay off. Now, I apologize for losing my cool. I do. I shouldn't lose my cool, but I get mad about it. I expect this from Joe Biden. I expect this from Obama. I don't expect this from Donald Trump. I don't. And I want to know what happened. I want to know how we got from you're going to find out the truth and everything that we know and everything that we believe. And obviously you protect the victims. Obviously, I'm not asking for all of that. Nobody's asking for all of that. I want to know what happened. I want to know how. I just want to know what happened. Don't y'all? How in the hell did Jeffrey Epstein become so powerful that he was able to compromise rich and powerful people around the globe to the point that they did his bidding? They were so afraid that he would be. I mean, I just want to know what happened, don't y'all? Why is it so difficult to tell us? Why is it so difficult to let us know what the hell's in there? What we know and what we don't know. And if you don't know something, tell us that. But more to the point, if you were never going to release this, why did you tell us you were? I mean, I mean, I can't. I've been doing this a long time. I'm trying to come up with the scenarios involved. So Kash Patel talked to Big Game until he became director of the FBI, and then the real people brought him into a room and told him what for and got him in line? That what happened? Because 2 days ago, we believed in Kash Patel. I don't know if I do now. I'm just being real, y'all. I'm being as real as I could possibly be. I don't know how much I believe in Pam Bondi based on this. That's where I'm at. I don't understand what's so hard here. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Maxwell's in jail. What other investigations are going on? At least do me the courtesy and respect if you're going to lie to me and tell me that there are other investigations going on. At least do me the courtesy and respect if you're going to lie to me and tell me, well, Matt, we're very concerned about sources and methods when it comes to the FBI. Well, we can't compromise our agents in concerning sources and methods. You know, at least stand before a podium with a damn seal on it and do it to my face. Instead, you throw some pages in a. Look, if y'all think I'm jumping the gun on this, tell me. But I don't have the feeling that anything else is going to happen on this. Do y'all? 1881 says, now you're being an a-hole. Only they said, how am I being an a-hole? I'm not the one that's raping children, Jack. I mean, who defends this? If I'm being an a-hole, so be it. You know what I want in life? Fewer children raped. And if there are child rapists running around who happen to have billions of dollars to protect themselves, I want those people put in jail for the rest of their lives or kill them. I don't care which. That's where I'm at. And if that makes me an a-hole, so be it. Okay, I got that out of my system. I don't know. I can't imagine it. 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7. A kinder, so remember when I told you I was going to be nicer?
I was just thinking about that.
23 after the hour on Super Talk.
Epstein files update. Attorney General Pam Bondi has reportedly sent what is described as a fiery letter to FBI Director Kash Patel. We'll tell you about it at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, I'm looking at that as we speak. Pam Bondi, AG. It is described as a fiery letter. I don't want to get in front of Ken's newscast, but according to Fox News, what I'm looking at, she sent this today, accusing federal investigators in New York City or New York. I don't know if it's New York State or New York City, but accusing them of withholding thousands of pages of the Jeffrey Epstein documents she has vowed to make public. Bondi said she had requested the full Epstein case file before Patel was confirmed as the head of the FBI and received about 200 pages of the files so far, far less than the number of pages released last year in a civil lawsuit connected to Ghislaine Maxwell, the trafficker's former lover and convicted accomplice. According to, well, I'll tell you what, I think I have the full letter here somewhere. I want to read you the full letter. Because Pam Bondi is apparently upset too. So let's find out what's up with that. Let's see. Where'd it go? That full letter go? Oh, there it is. Here we go. So, dear Director Patel, I think I have time to do this. Before you came into office, I requested, this is dated February the 27th, today. Before you came into office, I requested the full and complete files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, and a list of victims' names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated request, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office. Good. Well, okay. I'm liking this. The full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims and in accordance with law, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. I'm also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know we are both committed to transparency for the American people. I look forward to continuing to work with you to serve our president and our country. Sincerely, Pamela Bondi, Attorney General.
Well, Kash said when he was sworn in that she's the boss.
Well, she's the boss. And I like that letter a lot. That calms me down a little bit. I'm still annoyed. Why don't you hold a press conference and tell the American people this? 31 after the hour. It's time for news on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Epstein files update. Fox News says Attorney General Pam Bondi has sent what is described as a fiery letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, accusing federal investigators in New York of withholding thousands of pages of Epstein documents she has vowed to make public. Bondi says she had requested them before Kash Patel was confirmed. Now, earlier today, several social media influencers shared images of them holding binders that say the Epstein files, Phase 1, had a Justice Department seal on it, but no new bombshell evidence connecting the billionaire pedophile to powerful people, including politicians. A search warrant reveals new information about the death of 95-year-old legendary Hollywood actor Gene Hackman and his 63-year-old wife Betsy Arakawa and their dog. Alex Stone is covering.
Detective says that maintenance workers were called to they called the sheriff's department. The deputies arrived. They found a door that was ajar at the home, and then they made entry. They went in. They found a female, Betsy Arakawa, on the ground near a countertop in a bathroom. There was a space heater near her head. There was an open pill bottle with pills scattered on the countertop there. They found a dead German Shepherd dog near Arakawa. And then in a mudroom, they found Gene Hackman. It appeared he had suddenly fallen.
Here in Nashville, the Green Hills Mall robbery victim from nearly a month ago is now a suspect. Metro Police say 31-year-old Genesis Denton wanted for homicide. They've been looking for him since they say he fled in a rented Volvo SUV after getting robbed, and then moments later, the alleged robber and getaway driver crashed. The driver dying of a gunshot wound. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, drivers, still got that issue over on the East Loop going eastbound. Police reporting a crash right there at James Robertson Parkway. Now we got a stalled vehicle in Murfreesboro. The left shoulder block, 24 eastbound right after 840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Saturday, 40s and 50s on Sunday with overnight lows back below freezing.
I've been to the Men of Valor breakfast held at the Music City Center, and I'll tell you, it is an incredible experience. You find over 1,500 or so individuals having breakfast together, honoring and supporting those who support our Men of Valor. What does that mean? It means that we understand that men, for a lot of different reasons, find themselves in a bad way. In a criminal way, and they find themselves in the prison system. And for whatever reason, they can't find themselves a way out. Men of Valor helps find that for these men through the discipleship that they offer in the prison system. They win men in prison to Jesus Christ and his teachings. And in doing so, they minister to these men and create in them a spirit of service for their community. They create men who want better lives for themselves and who do not suck from the system but give back to the state and the community in which they live. It is a wonderful event. It's a wonderful purposed event, and I invite you to be a part of it. You can be a title sponsor, a platinum sponsor, a gold sponsor, silver or bronze sponsor by going to movministry.com. I encourage you to attend the breakfast. I think it will open your heart to the ways of Men of Valor and to the work that they do in our community. It's Wednesday, March 26th. Of course, I'll be there starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. Music City Center. It's the 2025 Men of Valor Breakfast. You know, the letter did calm me down a little bit. I reread it during the break.
Felt like some nice deep breaths, just kind of.
I got out of control for a minute, Chris.
Yeah.
I'll admit it.
Yeah.
I get so insane considering how the powerful and the rich oftentimes feel themselves or consider themselves above the law, and how often they get away with things that the average folks wouldn't get away with. And I don't like the idea of using power and influence to abuse and take advantage of other people, particularly in the most disgusting, egregious ways imaginable, especially when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. I fly red, and I admit that. And if that, turns me into as the gentleman said on the super text line, an a-hole, so be it.
So who gave these influencers these binders?
Apparently, that's a great question, Ken. Apparently, Pam Bondi? I don't understand why. I mean, the letter makes me feel better. She seems very upset, and maybe Kash Patel's like, "Hey, I'm new here. I'm just getting my feet underneath me. Help me out. I need a minute." Mm-hmm. But she got 200 pages. I mean, I'm assuming that's what was in the binders, right? Why is she giving? I described them online as randos. Whatever. Why is she giving randos this information? Why is she not giving the information to all of America?
Right. If she's the one who gave it to them.
That's a great point, Ken.
I mean, the New York Post came out with a story not long after the influencers started posting, pictures of themselves holding this binder. The New York Post is claiming that they talked to a source who has reviewed what's in these binders. Mm-hmm. And there's about 100 pages of what this source says people eager for new evidence are going to be greatly disappointed over.
I'm looking at Savannah Hernandez, who has a post out. She apparently is one of the social media influencers who has a binder. Mm-hmm. And Savannah talks often to Chris Hand on our airwaves. I've talked to Savannah in the past. I think she works with Turning Point USA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This is what she said. I also have an Epstein Files binder, but I want to correct the record. The Trump administration was originally set to announce these documents and make them available to the public in a press conference this afternoon. Bondi has stated that some of the information is already public and that the real smoking gun documents are being withheld by the FBI. This binder in this morning's meeting is a part of the Trump administration's push to bring independent journalists and media to speak directly to the highest members of the administration in an effort to be the most transparent administration in history. What? So she doesn't really say who gave them out. She said originally it was to announce the documents and make them available. Look, why don't you just release them to the American people?
Post them online.
Post them online so that I can read them.
Yeah.
I don't understand how, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So you're going to handpick the organizations and the individuals that gain direct access to this. I know y'all aren't going to like this, especially let me tell you, there's a segment of folks, and I don't begrudge you this, that's fine, but that if you criticize the Trump administration at all, they come after you.
Yeah.
And so for you that are in that category of that boat, you're about to come after me. I love Donald Trump. I love what he's done for the United States of America. I loved his first term. I hated that he didn't win a second term. I think that was God's hand on something because his second term, now that he has won it after 2020 and into 2024, is going better than I could have possibly imagined. So if you want to call this a small thing, that's fine. But if you're cherry picking independent media organizations that get the information, how is that different than Joe Biden cherry picking media organizations that get the information? Just the only difference is you like those media organizations. The only difference is, at least as far as I can tell it, those are media organizations that you trust as a Trump supporter. Okay. I would like to see this information released to all of America. And oh, by the way, some of these media folks are going to release them anyway, so why not just cut out the middleman and give them to the United States? And this is what I'm getting. I said, because the person that called me an a-hole said they're playing chess, not checkers. Use your brain. And I said, okay, explain how this is chess. Help me out here. And this is what I got. And I'm not dismissing it, but I've heard it before. I see it that they're letting the information out. And that's going to start putting people in the corner, and the guilty people are going to start panicking. I like the fact that they're letting it out in phases, and I love the fact that they're putting it out to the new media first versus the corrupt MSM, allowing us to control the narrative this time versus the bull bleep that would come out of the paid-for corrupt MSM. Each one of these guilty people involving that should be hung and tortured, in my belief. I also believe the FBI, the old crew in the FBI, were still in there and did not provide all the documentation. That's true. I said, put it out to all of America. Why not put it out to the entire? I mean, how can they filter the narrative if it's to everyone? And my friend, 1881, says, I think they're going to break it down into 3 parts. The first part is to lay out what's been done without naming names and making very simple for the public to consume and understand, because we realize there's a lot of idiots out there. Then they're going to get more specific on the crimes that were done, and then finally they're going to release the names so there can be no other narrative that these people are sick individuals who should be put in jail for the rest of their lives. Just my opinion. And I called you an a-hole because of the way that you were going after Patel. The request for the documents came into the FBI before he was confirmed, and you went off on him like he was a lying piece of bleep. That's why I called you an a-hole. I don't think that you are. I enjoy your show, but you were acting like one. Well, thank you, 1881. We can leave as friends. I was acting like one. You are correct. But I don't understand how hard it is. I guess I just don't understand what is taking so long. How difficult is it for the head of the FBI to say, I want every resource imaginable available to collect these documents and to fly them to me immediately? Everything you have. This is priority number 1 right now. We're dealing with child rapists. Let's go. So I might, by tomorrow, maybe by Monday or Tuesday of next week, I might say, hey, guys, I jumped the gun, boy. And I'm willing to do that. But right now, I'm a little annoyed. So there are people within the FBI. You know what we need to know? So here's the thing. Here's what I need to know to say, mea culpa, I'm sorry, I apologize, everybody, everything's right with the world. Kash Patel needs to start firing people. He needs to fire the people that were withholding this information from Pam Bondi. If the FBI, if she demanded all of the information and members of the FBI in New York or anyone else, or anywhere else withheld this information, they need to be fired and potentially charged with crimes. Is that fair? Is that fair? $33.25 says, you and Mike should nullify your $1,000 bet somehow because you both lost. What was our bet? It was like he bet me it would never be released, or
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I think he bet that it would never be released.
Yeah.
And I bet that it would be released. And now we're half pregnant.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Mike, I'll pay you $500, you pay me $500.
That sounds fair.
That sounds like a wash, right? Will is next up. Will, first up, really, I've been yammering on and not allowing callers to give their opinion on this matter. 615-737-9986. What is happening, Will?
Hey, Matt, how are you? I appreciate your show very much, and I share in your righteous anger about the Epstein issue here. Having worked with 3 or 4 of Trump's administration officials myself over the last decade, I can tell you that they are very capable of doing this the right way, or I should say the way that we want them to. I believe the disconnect might be where the administration, or at least those beneath Donald Trump in his cabinet, or even lower ranks than that, kind of see this as like a honeymoon phase. But the American people have a sense of urgency that needs to be communicated at a level that we don't have time for a honeymoon phase. We don't have time for victory laps. We're tired of strongly worded letters. We're tired of statements. We're tired of people going on TV and talking to the media and dangling carrots and getting everybody excited when the ducks are not in a row behind the scenes. What they're capable of doing is getting everybody in a room, get off TV, sit down, find out what it is you have to do to get every single document, every single bit of information, go ahead and make sure that the names of the victims are concealed, redacted, and then let the public have it. Now, it's their prerogative, the DOJ's, how they want to do that, whether it's in phases or whatnot. That's obviously their choice. But the optics is what makes me the most angry, whether it's the influencer photo op or whether it's 15 days in a row of officials going on TV dangling carrots in front of the American people.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but can I ask you this question? Well, I don't know if you saw the same thing that I did. Part of the reason that I'm so annoyed, I don't have anything against these influencers, whatever they are. I don't know who they are. I mean, I guess Savannah Hernandez was one. I mean, I'm sure that there are a lot of good people. I don't know if you saw the same image that I did. It sickened to my stomach because they're running out of the White House, holding up binders, smiling. Yay! Like this is not a time to smile. Children were raped. Why are you smiling and holding it up because you got yourself a That's just maybe I'm being too nitpicky, but I don't know about you. It struck me the wrong way.
I am 100% with you, and it's quite honestly, it's embarrassing because I feel like this is the first moment where the administration has kind of misread the room. And the first time in about 5 or 6 weeks, they've misread the room on this. This isn't a partisan thing, okay? When the files are released, we're going to realize it's definitely not partisan. And we cannot treat it like that. We have to treat it as a brutal crime against children for decades. And I share your righteous anger, and I think your thumb is right on the pulse.
Well, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you. I mean, look, I'm not casting aspersions at any of the people involved. I'm just saying they seem to have gotten caught up in they picked me. Ooh, it's not about you. It's not about any damn influencer. It's not about Matt Murphy. It's about truth and justice. It's about bringing justice to these 250-plus women, reportedly, that have been victimized in the course of what Jeffrey Epstein was able to do and many, many other accomplices were able to do over his life and times. And that just came off as this shady. It just struck me the wrong way. That's all. 615-737-9986. We'll continue to dissect that. Man, oh man, I know if you've been listening all day to Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I certainly hope you have been, you've heard about this local story out of Brentwood. I will try to relate some of the details to you. We have a hero in our midst, who had to make a snap decision about what to do. And I don't know, I've never been in that position. I would like to believe that I would have made the same choice. I'll tell you about that hero and what happened in Brentwood involving a stabbing coming up in the 4 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Defend Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm. They're right here in Middle Tennessee, and they specialize in physical security consultation and active violence mitigation training. That is a fancy way of saying they help keep you safer and help train you so that you know what to do in a time of crisis. Their clients include schools, corporations, healthcare facilities, law firms, manufacturing facilities, corporate headquarters, really any place that people gather. And if you're the decision maker where people gather, it is time to get trained up through Defend Systems. Not only do they train you, they train your staff and everyone involved in your place of business, your school, and your corporation, or your church facility. Because Defend Systems understands a couple of things. One, that the likelihood of you being attacked, the likelihood of workplace violence coming home, the likelihood of, God forbid, a mass shooting happening around you is infinitesimally low. But it's not zero. That means hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained. Let's get trained in this dangerous world with Defend Systems. Go to defendsystems.com or call 236-6484. 236-6484. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Defend Systems.
Epstein Files update and more coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Ken Weaver. It's 58 after 3, 2 until 4. That's basically saying that it's about 4 o'clock. I have some old school ways that I can't, I sometimes I say things like it's 10 and a half until the top of the hour. Like, what the hell? Just say the time, bro.
Trying to get a little fancy with it.
Yeah, I know. It's 3:58. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of response to, and look, a lot of disappointment. I expressed mine. I've calmed it down to a certain degree. Frankly, the Pam Bondi letter went some way to calm me down, but I still have questions. I don't understand who released it. to these folks, why it wasn't released to the entirety of the United States, what the purpose of releasing it to just a few influencers. And frankly, once again, this is not a reflection on these people necessarily, except to say, I think it was a bad look. You're coming out of the, yay, look, inside of this binder is children getting raped. And it's like, no, come on, man.
Yeah, that one woman, boy, she is smiling ear to ear.
It's just a bad look. Speaking of a bad look, USAID, garbage. Speaking of good looks, the opposite of bad looks, our own Glenn Jacobs was on Gutfeld last night. I happened to see that. Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs. Some say that he might have other political aspirations in his future. Speaking of political aspirations, at 5:05, we'll talk to Congressman John Rose about what his future might hold.
Excellent.
That is coming up at 5:05. Scott Sapinki coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We got 3 more hours to go of this. Right now, it's time for news with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Epstein files update. Several social media influencers are posting images of them with binders that read the Epstein files, phase 1. So far, no word of any new bombshell evidence connecting the now dead billionaire pedophile to powerful people, including politicians. And Fox News says Attorney General Pam Bondi has sent what is described as a fiery letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, accusing federal investigators in New York of withholding thousands of pages of Epstein documents she has vowed to make public. Now, Bondi says she had requested them before Patel was confirmed. Her letter directs Director Patel to deliver the full and complete Epstein files related to Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained, to her office by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. A search warrant reveals new information about the death of 95-year-old legendary Hollywood actor Gene Hackman and his 63-year-old wife Betsy Arakawa and their dog. Their bodies found in their New Mexico home late Wednesday. The warrant says the couple and their dog have been dead for some time. It appears the deaths are now being investigated as suspicious, as we hear from Alex Stone.
They found a female, Betsy Arakawa, on the ground near a countertop in a bathroom. There was a space heater near her head. There was an open pill bottle with pills scattered on the countertop there. They found a dead German Shepherd dog near Arakawa. And then in a mudroom, they found Gene Hackman. It appeared he had suddenly fallen, they say, that his sunglasses were near him. But there were other dogs that were alive on the property, and everything else was locked and secured.
Right now in our nation's capital, WWE CEO Linda McMahon just one vote away from being confirmed as Education Secretary under President Trump. She heads to a final Senate vote after passing the final procedural hurdle of the process today. And here in Middle Tennessee, 3 weeks after a robbery and shooting in the Green Hills Mall parking lot, News 2 says the shopper who was robbed is now a suspect. Here's Channel 4's Marius Payton.
Metro Police say 31-year-old Genesis Denton is wanted on an outstanding homicide charge for a shooting that killed one of the alleged robbers. This is Genesis Denton in this picture right here. The robbery happened on February 4th in the middle of the day. Police say Denton was walking out of the mall with Louis Vuitton bags when a Tesla drove up. Omari Moore got out of the car and robbed Denton. Moore and Emmanuel Easley tried to get away, and that's when Easley was shot. He crashed into a tree off of I-65 North and later died at the hospital. We know Denton left before police got there. Again, he's now wanted for a homicide charge.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Looks like we have picked up a crash in Donaldson. This is going to be Lebanon Pike at Dispain Drive. And then in Rivergate, Gallatin Pike North, just south of Rivergate Parkway and Myatt Drive. We've got stalled vehicle on the right shoulder. You got to get over 65 southbound after Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. And in Murfreesboro, still dealing with a stalled vehicle on the right shoulder, 24 eastbound at 840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk at 99.7 WTN.
If you are holding, please continue to do so. I got two on the line, and if you'd like to be a part of the show, 615-737-9986. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is hour number 2 of our Thursday, February 27th edition of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Our next guest steps into the studio, and, well, even before he was in the studio, I went down to get him because, you know, we run a tight ship around here on the Matt Murphy side of things. I don't know how many part-timers and interns Dan Mandis has in the mornings?
Oh, probably a whole crew.
Oh, man. Yeah. I can only imagine the numbers of people that are here. Ken Weaver would probably know.
Well, whenever I was there were about 400.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, people run around everywhere.
Oh, man. I bet there's breakfast every day, wasn't there, Ken? Breakfast every day.
There was, but they'd eat it before I'd get a chance to get to it.
How was the coffee in the mornings?
Oh, the coffee was outstanding.
I bet it was nice then. I bet it was nice back in the day. And now Joan Jones gets to enjoy all of that, Mandis, KGB, and whomever else is around that they refuse to name on the radio. Well, the bottom line is this. A guest, an esteemed guest, such as the one we're about to introduce you to, would never have to wait on Nashville's Morning News because they'd have like a band out there, you know, playing them inside the
red carpet rolled out and everything
into the lobby and then up the stairs. And so the first thing that I said to Representative Scott Sapicki as I went to the door is, you know, someone such as yourself should not have to wait this long. And the first thing he said to me was, you want to tell everybody what you said to me?
No, I won't do that.
You said, when are you cutting your hair? I thought you were cutting your hair. That's what you said to me. And I said, it's Tuesday night. You're invited. You want to come?
I'm going to try to be there.
We would love to have you.
But I might be working for the people.
Well, I think as a state representative, we're not allowed to give you a free ticket. So you have to go buy your ticket on 997WTN.com.
Well, I could be part of the show, and therefore I wouldn't have to pay to get in.
Try that at the door. See what they do. If he's a part of the show, he doesn't count toward the number. Wait.
Oh, yes, he does.
Dan says anytime.
Well, Dan's easy. I mean, honestly.
Isn't that the truth?
Did you hear that he's a tsunami denier? Dan Mandis?
What?
A tsunami denier. I didn't know that he had it in him, but he is. You want to hear the backstory? You got to hear this, right?
Do I want to hear the backstory?
So it's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, right?
Yeah.
So Gene Hackman passed away.
Oh, I didn't know
at the age of 95. And his wife, who was 30 years younger than him, and his dog passed away too. And they're thinking maybe it's carbon monoxide inside of the home, or, you know, they're not really sure what happened. But that news was just coming out this morning. And Dan Mandis, you know, such a relatable guy to the listening audience of Nashville's Morning News, was talking about some of the bigger roles that Gene Hackman has been in. You know, he was Lex Luthor in Superman. He was, you know, the head coach in Hoosiers. Great film. He was in Unforgiven, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
And, of course, Mandis, when he thinks of Gene Hackman, thinks of the Poseidon Adventure,
Wow, that's going back.
1972.
Yeah, as a priest.
Yeah, way back in the day where the boat flipped over.
I watched it.
And Mandis then proceeded to talk about that he did not believe that could really happen in real life, that waves like that did not happen. And someone, I believe it was our own Chris Hand, said, "You don't believe in tsunamis? Because tsunamis happen."
Right.
And Dan was like, "Yeah, I don't know that I buy that can happen that way. Has that ever happened?" And I texted and I was like, "Dan, a tsunami killed like 240,000 people in 2004."
Right.
And he says, no. I mean, has it ever flipped a boat?
Numerous.
Yeah, I mean, The Perfect Storm, there was a movie made about a boat.
Right.
Anyway, so Dan's a tsunami denier now.
Well, even the military. I mean, the Navy, when they're out there, they're cautious. They know what's going on.
Have you seen some of those? It does, in all seriousness, we pick on Dan, but have you seen some of those steady cams that they have on the cargo ships?
There's no way.
I mean, maybe when you and I were 23, 24 and full of vinegar, I mean, maybe, but.
Well, the ones that are even more interesting are in the North Sea, those offshore oil rigs. I mean, when the waves are coming up on the platform and they're just bobbing in the waves, I'm like, no, I'll pass on that.
No, I'm good. I'll go work at the Wendy's or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, that's not why you're here, Representative Sapicki. What do you got going on?
A lot of stuff going on in the General Assembly now. We are in full swing. Hearts are being broken on a daily basis up there, but that's okay. We look for good policy, and it moves on, and bad policy finds another place to go.
Is it bill killing time?
It is. It started. People get their feelings hurt, and I said this off the air to you. And the greatest words of wisdom 7 years ago, it was given to me by one of the representatives. He said, "Remember this: date your bills, don't marry them. It's easier to break up." And it's the truth. And it's the truth.
When they get escorted out of the building,
yes,
and left for dead outside,
you say, "Well, I'll see you next time."
What are we losing? Does anything come to mind? Or
well, there's some bills that have to do in education with policy that maybe doesn't meet our expectations of what we're trying to do. Reduce the number of tests, reduce the number of evaluations on our teachers and our kids, free up more time. Kind of roll back. A lot of legislators want to put more things on our teachers to do, and we're trying to play defense on that this year.
I want to back up for a minute and talk about the federal government before we boil down to the General Assembly. Would you say that there's general consensus amongst your Republican colleagues that they're in agreement with the Trump administration's position on the Federal Department of Education?
I'd say probably 95% of us are, yes. Absolutely.
And it's my understanding the manner in which the president wants to do. I mean, I think this was a consideration a couple of years ago that was floated, that the state of Tennessee might become solvent on its own enough to not need federal dollars.
Yeah, we had the ability a couple of years ago. Speaker Sexton convened a committee on it, and we determined it would cost about $1.6, $1.7 billion net, because there'd be cost savings of things we wouldn't have to do,
right,
versus the things we would. And then we looked at it, and we said, well, let's wait until the next election to see what happens. Well, now it's happened. President Trump has talked about with Linda McMahon, I believe that's who it is, about sunsetting the Federal Department of Education, which I think would be an outstanding achievement, so that we could look at the education experiment of each individual state and determine how we're going to do the things that best meet the needs of our kids.
Well, when you homogenize the system in the manner in which the federal department, and by the way, it's my understanding, tell me if I'm wrong, that Trump's plan would still offer federal dollars to the states in like block grants, but it would not require, there would be no mandates or strings attached to those grants as to homogenize the system in the way it's been homogenized.
That's 100% correct. The things that are in federal law on students with disabilities and special ed kids, special needs, that's all codified. And so we would have to maintain those support mechanisms. But what it would do is give us the flexibility to let the locals look at how they want to do it that best fits the needs and of their districts.
We talk about, it occurs to me, we talk about within the state of Tennessee creating a spirit of good competition amongst the various systems. Would this not create that same spirit of competition amongst the states?
Absolutely. You would have those states that would be doing it to the best of their ability, would be attracting more young families to come here and invest in our state and our educational system to take advantage of it. One of the things that we have been working on since I've been up there in the General Assembly for 7 years, and we're slowly climbing the ranks. We're right. We've got, if everything breaks our way this year, Matt, I think we can crack the top 25 in the country on our third grade literacy rate and our graduation and our mathematics. We are very close right now, and that's one of the things we're trying to do in the General Assembly this year is keep pushing forward and making sure that we're doing the things that are going to drive us to that next level.
Where are we? Obviously, special session over and done with.
Yes.
Special session saw the Education Freedom Act passed. Where are we in terms of implementation?
From what I look at, they're looking at emergency rules, so it takes about 90 days from the time we passed it. The goal is to have something functional, hopefully by April, May, so that people can start to apply for those scholarships. Now, one of the things they have to do is get a letter of acceptance from a private school. So those private schools are going to have to kind of adjust about when they have their cutoff dates for their enrollment to allow the flexibility for these kids to apply later on in the year. My anticipation is we'll have more seamless rollout in year 2 because we'll have more time to work through all the bugs that pop up.
But the plan is still to see these things roll out this fall.
This fall, absolutely.
What about other education pieces that you're working on?
So the bill we talked about cell phones in the classroom, that bill did clear the Education Committee. It'll be on the House floor Monday, where we will be put a ban during instructional time across the state of Tennessee that the students will not be able to have the cell phones in their possession unless it's part of their IEP, special ed, special needs, things like that.
Is it working through the Senate as well simultaneously?
Yes, it is. We're doing fine right there. And we had 2 districts, Hamblin County and Warren County, their superintendents came in, and they did a bell-to-bell ban, bell-to-bell, and they said their classrooms have never looked better. Kids engage with their teachers, kids engage, talking in conversation. They said they've never heard the cafeteria be louder.
And you're the sponsor of this bill.
No, I turned it over to Rebecca Alexander. I got up against it with some bill numbers.
Okay.
And so we kind of combined her bill and my bill into one bill, and she's carried it, so she'll be on the House floor.
And she walking the aisle.
She's doing great.
Dun, 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 dun. She's marrying it, huh?
Yeah, she's doing great.
I mean, you said not to marry, but I feel like if you get to the floor of the House, you know.
Oh, no, this is marriage now.
We got nuptials going on.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
What about, I know this is Gino's bill, but a couple of people have asked on the super text line if you have any update on the flag bill.
It has not been put on notice yet from what I know.
Okay.
I was scanning that today. We are probably, here's what's crazy, is we're probably about 3 weeks away from closing the education committees. We are that far ahead of the game right now. And so what you're going to see here in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see our calendars just balloon up with all these bills. And then we'll file our last calendar that'll shut off any more bills, and then we'll start to work through them.
Do you support the bill?
Gino's bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I voted for it last year.
Okay. It ran against it in the Senate for some reason, didn't it?
It did. That would be a question for the Senate.
Well, I wouldn't dare ask you.
That'd be a political answer. I'm sorry.
I'm hearing that the governor is advancing, and you tell me what it is, but charter school legislation in this session. What can you tell us about it?
So one of the things that we want to make sure that our locals had an opportunity to approve charter schools. And that was one of my amendments on the bill, was the first stop had to be the locals. And we've had some trouble with some of the local school boards just being vehemently against charters and everything just running to the state to be approved. Now, everybody's going to say, well, since the Charter Commission was appointed by Governor Lee, they're just rubber stamping everything. That's not true, Matt. They are turning down a lot of these charters that don't have all their ducks in a row. But what the governor wants to do is create a process where if a local has a track record of turning down charters one after another, then they're not getting a fair shake. And let them apply directly to the Charter Commission for their evaluation and still give that charter school, if they've been approved, they can go with the Charter Commission as an authorizer, or they could go back to that LEA and be an authorizer. But it would kind of be not really good for them to go back to the locals, because the locals have said we don't want them. Then you got to go with the state. And you're going to hear a lot of misinformation about this. I know it's hard to believe, but one of the things that we track is performing. Now, it's not just are you performing at state average, because some of these charter schools are in very, very bad situations in our inner cities. are you outperforming the schools that these kids came from? And almost unequivocally, Matt, they are. Now, the Charter Commission, I think in the last couple years, they've closed 5 charters in the state because guess what? They weren't performing the way we wanted them to. So we've appointed members to the Charter Commission that are doing a fantastic job, that are evaluating the benefits of these schools for our students and making sure that we are getting the best performance out of them as we can.
I guess I want to wrap up the education piece at least, unless you have something else on the table on your recess bill.
Well, recess bill has been on notice. It'll be heard in committee next week.
This is a great piece of legislation.
Well,
I don't like applauding you on most anything, but
it is facing some headwind. Believe it or not.
What are folks saying about it?
Well, some districts and superintendents are complaining about, how are we going to do this? With everything we have to do, how are we going to do this? And so what we've done is the minimum in current law is 15 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm. And what are you asking for, 40?
40 minutes. And they can break it up 20 and 20 if they want, but it's to get these kids out and let them just be kids for a while and run around and play with it. Just play.
Look, I mean, I'm not here to compare children to dogs, but I'm about to do it. So, I mean, if I don't get my dogs exercise, I mean, if kids don't get exercise, I don't even have to use the dog example. If kids don't get exercise, they get energy just gets gunched up. I just think this is a great idea.
Well, as a listener, I can tell when Ken Weaver doesn't get outside very often.
Well, that's true.
He gets cranky and he starts to speak really fast.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about?
But no, seriously, this is a very important bill. This is remember we talked about COGS, right?
Right.
Another arrow in the quiver of education that's going to transform our classrooms. And you talk to teachers across the state, and I have. Mm-hmm. One of the things they keep telling me is we don't get these young kids, elementary now, we don't get these elementary kids outside enough to exercise. And you know what we have a problem with in Tennessee? Childhood obesity.
Yep.
We need to get them outside and let them play more. Therefore, they get all that nervous energy out of them. When they come back into the classroom, teacher has control. They start to teach them again. They start to learn.
So the pushback you're getting is how are we going to accomplish? But they're required to do 15 minutes a day. Just expand the 15 minutes.
Right.
And where do we take? Well, I mean, sometimes look. I understand you don't want to take away from instruction time, but frankly, I think it's valuable enough that.
Well, the data will show that if you get these kids outside to exercise, to get that nervous energy off them, they come back ready to learn, you don't have to spend as much time accomplishing more than what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. It's easier to get it done. When you're trying to herd all these kids in a classroom that are running ever because they just got all this energy, and let's face it, little boys are even worse. You got to let them get outside. And I'll bet you this, we'll come back in a year after this bill passes, we'll see better socialization from the kids, less discipline problems, and better academic scores.
Scott Sapiggy's with us for another segment. It's 23 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's the Matt Murphy Show. I mean, look, the days are tick-tock, tick-tock. The time is counting down. You only have today and tomorrow left to sign up for the big 2-for-1 special at the Glock store. That's right. February is coming to a close, right? And all month long, the Glock store has offered you an opportunity to get 2 for the price of 1 when it comes to Shoot 270 rooms. Now, if you or your partner have never been to a Shoot 270 room, you might not understand what we're talking about. This is not a lane range experience. This is an individualized, it's a room where you go in with your instructor and your significant other, your loved one in this case, because it's 2 for 1, and you get a personalized shooting experience, a professional that will tailor the session to your level of shooting expertise. You come out a better shooter, a more confident shooter every time you go in. And I know this from personal experience because I train at the Glock store, and I want you to as well. And right now, mention my name, 2 shooters for the price of 1, but it's only today and tomorrow. That's all that's left. So that now is the time to get in on this deal. You get it booked, you get it on the books, and you'll get the 2-for-1 deal. Minutes away from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Glockstore.com or shoot270.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Glock store.
Epstein files update. Attorney General Pam Bondi has set a hard deadline for the turnover of all of those files. We'll tell you about it at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Just a couple of more moments with Scott Sapicki. Representative Sapicki out of Murray County is with us talking about primarily education. It is truly your passion, and I appreciate it. You had one more thought on education, did you not? Oh, the transfer bill.
One-time transfer, yes.
Yeah, tell everybody what that is and the progress it's making.
So one of the things that we've thought, Senator Watson and Senator Lowe and myself and others, we wanted to have high school athletes the ability to have a one-time transfer. Something happens academically, athletically, they want a better situation, that we would allow them a one-time transfer with immediate eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I think, 4 states right now that have adopted that one time. There are 3 other states that have the Wild West, and that's what we don't want. Texas, Florida, and California. You can transfer anytime you want. So we're trying to just make it one time to alleviate a situation. We have coaches that can transfer anytime they want. Athletic directors can transfer anytime they want. Cheerleaders, band people can transfer and be eligible to play right away. So where we are right now.
So right now in high school, if I'm a quarter, I'm just trying to avoid my confusion. So if I'm a quarterback for the football team and we move, I have to sit out?
Nope, you're good then. Parents got to move. But let's say you go to you want to play for the team across town, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, then you're ineligible.
Okay, I see what you're saying. If you just want to move schools without moving your physical location,
correct.
I got you.
Parents move, we're all fine, and all those laws with TSSAA would stay intact, right? But if you just get in a bad situation, coach leaves and they change the offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you fall out of favor, or you just want a better shot,
or you just want to go to a different school system.
And what's that called? It's called choice.
Yeah, choice. I get it.
And so that bill, but we think TSSAA on March 3rd is having their monthly meeting. They have led us to believe that they are going to solve this problem internally. So we have looked at the proposal they have. We're kind of optimistic that this is going to happen, which would allow the one-time transfer. And if it meets what the General Assembly is trying to do, then we're fine. We're good. If not, then we'll have to try to tweak it and come up with a better solution.
Anything else we need to know about?
No, keep going. What else you want to talk about?
Well, no, we're good. Well, no, we're out of time. Ken
Weaver,
Ken Weaver makes demands, and so we have to acquiesce to those demands.
He needs his recess.
He's a little bit upset about your smart Alec comment.
It was smart though.
It was.
It was
education.
It was Alec too.
Education.
Thank you, Sapicki. I love Scott Sapicki's time here, and I hope you do too. It's 30 minutes after the hour on Super Talk.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi is directing FBI Director Kash Patel to turn over all of the Jeffrey Epstein files to her by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. She claims the FBI, before Patel was confirmed, turned over 200 documents and said that is all there is. But since then, Bondi says she's learned there are thousands more, and she wants all of them on her desk tomorrow morning. Now, earlier today, several social media influencers posted images of binders they say they were given that read, "The Epstein Files Phase 1." But there has been no new bombshell evidence connecting the billionaire pedophile to any powerful people, including politicians. Witnesses to yesterday's stabbing in a Brentwood neighborhood say the neighbor who intervened to stop the attack on a woman is a hero. That neighbor shot the stabber several times. The stabber has since died. The woman he was stabbing is recovering. Channel 4 spoke to people who say they can't believe what happened.
It's very concerning because you don't expect it in Brentwood, of all places. It's not something that... It's just not knowing is what the scary part is, just not knowing what's going on.
Police say the neighbor who intervened with the gun has not been charged, but the investigation continues. Elsewhere in Middle Tennessee, the victim of the robbery at Green Hills Mall nearly a month ago is now a suspect. Metro Police say 31-year-old Genesis Denton is wanted for homicide for the shooting that killed one of the alleged robbers. They say Denton fled in a rented Volvo SUV before police got there. Scientists say they've reached a critical step in developing a new treatment that could keep man's best friend around longer.
A new anti-aging drug for dogs has cleared a major hurdle with regulators. The FDA says the daily pill shows reasonable effectiveness in extending the lifespan of dogs. The drug targets dogs 10 years and older and weigh at least 14 pounds, and the hope is that vets can start prescribing it by the year's end.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, I'm just seeing the usual slowdowns. I don't see any crashes on the interstates, but it is really backed up going east and westbound to 40 all the way around the loop. And then we've got east and westbound 440 and then northbound 65 to get to 440, also to get to that south loop downtown. Just the usual slowdowns. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and it's, if you have experienced hair loss, I know it can be frustrating. You fellas or you ladies out there that have experienced it, I have a company that I would recommend, and it's PAI Medical. I know I went, and I don't know that I felt like I was losing a little something in the back end. And so I went to these guys and I said, hey, can you help me out on the crown of my head to find out what's going on? And the friendly professional folks at PAI Medical, the We Grow Hair people, they said, sure. And you know what they discovered? They taught me a couple of things. One is that you lose up to 50% of your hair in a given area before you actually start noticing the bald spots, the bald patches. Number two, there is a plan available to help robust hair growth, to help promote hair growth. It is FDA approved. It is called their PRP laser treatment, and I did it for a number of sessions. Could not be happier. It's a 45-minute session, non-invasive. It's a laser treatment, and it works. Now, if you're a little bit further along, don't worry. Nobody else in Tennessee has the ARTIS robotic FUE procedure, the multi-unit hair grafting procedures. These are guaranteed to work. Give PAI Medical and the We Grow Hair people a call. Here's the number, 615-376-6010, 376-6010, or go to WeGrowHair.com. That's WeGrowHair.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
There are some updated reports on the death of Gene Hackman. I'll have that update for you coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, my name is Matt Murphy. Thank you for being here. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. By the way, I failed to mention this at the opening of the show. I'm getting the calls momentarily. Mike, you hang in there. Brian, you too. If you want to call in, 615-737-9986. I say those numbers often and as quickly as possible just to keep you on your toes. 615-737-9986. So, real quick, and I failed to do this, and I meant to do it at the top, but I started going off on the whole Epstein thing, and I lost it. So, I got my CT scan this morning on my shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
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 And, gosh, I hope these two people are listening right now. Maybe they gave up on me, but I hope they're listening. So, I go into the facility, and I sign in, and I go and I sit down. I got my little paperwork there, and I'm just on my phone. And I sit down, and, it's a crowded waiting room at the place. There's, I think, MRI scans and CT scans. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And I noticed the fella sitting kind of facing me. I'm in the middle of the room, and he's got a Tennessee Titans hat on, and he gives me a look, and he just gave me a kind of a look,
Mm-hmm.
And so I sit down, and I'm minding my own business. And then I assume his wife comes in and walks by me and sits down beside him. And then I just kind of hear them talking, in the background. I'm not trying to eavesdrop on anybody, so I'm not paying any attention. And then and I'm sitting there looking at my phone, and then I start hearing like noise coming out of somebody's phone, like loud talking coming out of someone's phone.
Uh-huh.
And my immediate thought was, well, I hope we turn that down soon.
You don't want to be one of those people.
I don't want to be, I don't want to be that. And immediately after I thought that thought, well, I hope they turn that down soon, the second thought that popped in my head was, that guy sounds familiar. And then right behind that thought was, that's me. He was playing me. And I looked up, and he was looking right at me. He had looked at us, and he goes, I knew it was you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Bubba, and I think her name, I'm 98% sure it was Vicky. So, Miss Vicky, if your name is not Vicky, I'm sorry. I think it was Vicky, though. But Bubba and Vicky, I just wanted to say hello, and thank you for listening to the show.
Yeah, very nice.
They're very sweet. They said, I knew it was you. And I said, yes, me. And we talked for a little bit before they called me back. And all I'm doing is reporting what was said to me, fellas.
Okay.
Ms. Vicky said, and I quote, "You're a lot skinnier than you look on TV."
Well, they say the camera adds 10 pounds.
That's what she said afterwards. She said, well, they say the camera adds some weight. And I said, man, I like you, Miss Vicky, a lot.
Yeah.
I like you a lot. And yes, that's true. Camera does add some weight. But it was very, but after Bubba, he played me, and he said, I knew it was you. The first thing Vicky said to me was, so you getting that haircut, huh? Like, yeah, that's what they tell me.
Yeah. Drop some more weight right there.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
A couple pounds. So anyway, Bubba and Vicky, thank y'all so much for saying hello, and absolutely loved meeting you all earlier today. 41 after the hour. Mike is in Old Hickory. Thank you for your patience, Mike. I appreciate it.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm great, Mike.
Now we have the Epstein files, so-called, coming out.
Well, we don't have a lot of them.
Nobody's named, and nobody will be named. This is a controversy now that's going to explode worldwide, and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are going to be the ones to try to open this up, find out where is the bottom of this Epstein Rape Island controversy. Who was there? Who around the world was there? And I'm going to tell you right now, Matt, you're not going to see the people that were really there ever exposed publicly. And that's because the deep state in this country is going to make sure that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel will never be allowed to release it, because one of them was a former president, and one of them was a former prince from another country, and we know who they are. So what's happening here is that, they're going to put out a statement but they can't release the names because they know who the names are, and they're being stopped.
Yes, the
Because
former.
it's
By the way,
deep
Mike,
state
just to make sure nobody's confused. You're talking about Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make
We
sure.
know the flight log.
I'm not afraid of it.
We know the flight log.
Mhm.
Already went to that Rape Island, and that was dismissed under the what administration? The Biden administration.
Well, I want to believe that we're close enough that we can cut through some of the rest of the deep state and get to the bottom of it. I want to believe that. I want to believe that we can identify the individuals, whether prosecuted or not, that were responsible for the rape of children. I want to believe that. I want to believe that no amount of power and control and money is enough.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
what you just said to me, you got to be kidding. You know what the power of Hollywood is in government? It's billions. It's not millions. They're going to make sure this is covered up, and I pray for Pam Bondi, and I pray for Kash Patel. Right now, I pray for their lives.
Well, I do too.
Because what they're trying to do is expose this, and Bill Clinton and all these other people around the world went to that island and did these things. The American people are not going to be allowed to hear it. The deep state is called that for a reason, Matt. It's called deep state. They've got people down there now in the CIA and the FBI. They're going to stop Bondi and Kash Patel. You're going to see some stuff come up against them from the deep state.
I hear you talking, Mike, and I hear what you're saying, and it's a legit position. I'm just going to fight every day against it. I'm going to fight for transparency and truth. I'm going to fight.
Support Julian Epstein and all of his billionaire people that went to Rape Island.
What? What? I didn't. What'd you say? Support them? What? Hey, Mike. Hello? What happened to Mike? I got very confused at the end, Mike. I thought we were doing well, and then it sounded like Mike said, then support Epstein and all of the people that went to rape. Obviously, I must have misheard him. One way or the other, I'm going to continue to fight. I've calmed it down. I went on a rant in the 3 o'clock hour, and I know that I did. But I don't apologize for it. I'm just telling you, I get very passionate about this. The idea that power, control, and money can prevent justice and truth from prevailing is just abhorrent to me. Abhorrent to me. And I'm going to fight every day for truth. I'm sad to tell you. Have y'all seen there's a particular page rolling around from this binder about the visitors' massage list? Have y'all seen this page?
No.
It is one of the pages in the binder. It says redacted to protect potential victim information. And it says visitors' massage page 8. And it has a list. And it's 2 columns. It's like 2 large black blocks. Every name on the page is redacted. Every single name. So you're telling me that all of those were victims? And so we're redacting all of those names to protect the victims? I understand protecting the victims. I understand doing your due diligence. But according to people that have looked through these binders by now, and sadly, these are selected individuals. So not only can we not see these things for ourselves, you have to allow for time so people can go through them. But even the people going through them are telling us that there's nothing here. There's nothing new here. This is all information that came out during the Maxwell trial, all information that came out in the preliminary information about the Epstein case. All of this information has come out in civil trials already. We already know all of this. We know that there is a treasure trove of additional information. We don't know what that information is. It might be disappointing. We want to see it for ourselves. And earlier today, Pam Bondi made this grand release. I don't necessarily know who released it out of the White House. That looked like all these people were coming out of the White House, right? I assume they were coming out of the White House. That's the way it looked. It looked as if they were coming out of the press room of the White House. west wing of the White House. But what we are getting is just information that's already been released. So it's to say that it's a disappointment is a complete understatement. It is sad that there are so many inside of the FBI. I mean, why would the FBI be protecting bad guys? Why would the FBI want to control this information unless the FBI is a completely corrupted organization? If Kash Patel is the guy that I think he is, and I still have faith that he is, he has a lot of work to do to root out the corruption in that organization. Brian is next, and all of us should be rooting for it. Brian is next in Murfreesboro. Brian, thank you for your patience, sir. How are you?
That's okay. Are you having a blessed day?
I'm doing my best, Brian. I hope you are.
Yeah, I work for Homeland Security, but that's not what I call about. A lot of the areas in Murfreesboro, where I live, Blackman area, we don't have those sirens that go up for the tornado warnings. And of course, we're coming up to that season. Is people looking at that? But you're more welcome to ask me about the waste of Homeland Security because I was in it.
Well, before I do that, Brian, I have another question for you. Are you currently going through a tornado right now, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just saying we don't have any around our area. You know those sirens that go up real loud. You know, you can hear them going on. And, you know, there's a tornado warning or there's a tornado coming on the ground. We don't have them down here.
Down here where?
In Murfreesboro.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't. I mean, well, a couple of things on that front. You should. I mean, I've not looked into the laws of the state of Tennessee, but it's my understanding that pretty much all municipalities around the state would make available these outdoor sirens so as to warn individuals who currently are out of doors if there's inclement weather coming, like a severe thunderstorm or a tornado. That's kind of SOP for all states, especially states that experience severe weather nowadays. So I would think that you guys would have the tornado sirens out of doors. But I would also note,
'cause we're right down here. We're right down here in the Blackman area in Murfreesboro. You know, what I mean, we don't have any of those.
Well, how do you know that? How do you know that you don't have them?
Because when we've had them last year, nothing goes off. There's nothing here. I'm not being funny. We just don't have them. You know what I mean?
Oh, you just don't hear
them? I
them?
don't know if all areas have them or not.
So are you in well, here's what I would say without knowing the specifics of your situation. I mean, if you hit me up, email me or something or another, I can figure out if there's a problem down there. But here's what I would note, and all good meteorologists will tell you this. Those outdoor tornado sirens are just that. They are for people outdoors. They are not designed for you to hear them inside of buildings.
I got you.
So what I would recommend you do is you sign up for a weather app of your choosing. You know, pick a television station or there are a variety of different apps on your phone that you can download on your phone that will alert you in the case of a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning.
That's cool. I didn't mean to change the subject because we're talking about politics all the time and stuff like that. But it'd be something interesting to talk about different. I did work for Homeland Security, and there's a lot of wasted money in our department. You know what I mean? There is. That people just do a few things a year, and they're getting paid for it. Just like we talk about this every day. You two on the radio. There's a lot of wasted money. But I'm a Trump fan. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm a Trump fan, and everything's going good for me with my stock market and everything else. Everything's going great. But I just, there's a lot of wasted money going into man, I've talked to you before where I worked at. There's a lot of wasted money.
No question. Well, Brian, good luck with the whatever kind of inclement wind-related event that you're going through right now. I mean, I asked him early on in the call if he was going through an actual tornado while he was waiting for the tornado sirens to go off. He said no, but it sounded like yes.
Or he was in a wind tunnel otherwise. I don't know.
Maybe so. Or
yeah. I think he was probably just enjoying this beautiful weather we're having today.
Oh, yeah, it's lovely outside, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be nice to take the show outside?
It would.
Hey, we're taking the show on the road.
We are.
Yeah, Tuesday, all of us. If you've not heard, starting this Tuesday, starting at 3 o'clock, we will be on the road at the Nashville Palace. And when I say we, I mean we. I mean Matt Murphy, Ken Weaver, and Chris Webber. All three of us. Hail, hail, the gang's all there. Starting at 3, Ken will be doing his news. I'll be doing my thing. Chris Webber will be controlling the television side of things, and someone will be back at home base controlling home base. I don't know who that will be. Mason, maybe?
I guess so.
I suppose someone. Well, it's not our affair because we'll be out at the Nashville Palace having a good time. It all starts at 3 o'clock, and then the big event, doors officially open at 6. A lot of you have already signed up and bought your tickets. If you've not, you're going to see Dan Mandis. You're going to see Chris Hand. You're going to see Chad Benson, Matt Murphy. Brian Wilson makes a triumphant return to the festivities. There will be a buffet available for everyone. That is included in your ticket price. Tickets are $40 per person, but that includes an all-you-can-eat buffet and all the drinks you want to drink. Any alcoholic beverages, you have to purchase those. But other than that, you are taken care of. Plus, entertainment options galore. There'll be music. There'll be fun. There'll be dancing. There'll be talk radio, and there will be a hair cutting. Will not be a buzzer. There will be snip, snip, snip.
That's what you
snip,
think.
snip, snip, snip. So if you are new, here's the deal. I said if we fill the place, I will get a buzz cut. But if we don't fill the place, I will get a snip, snip. Just a little off the bottom, please. Thank you. Maybe a little off the sides. Shape it up and make it look nice. The singing barber, Noah Peters, will be out there cutting my hair. He'll be on with us tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Anyway, all information can be found at 99.7 WTN. Come on out and see us at the Nashville Palace next Tuesday. Someone just asked if Ken will be shirtless and wrestling.
No, I've got to do news.
Well, there you go. There's your answer, 5601. I tried, asked, and answered on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's hard to type while you're wrestling.
That's true. I mean, I get it. I get it.
I could type without a shirt on, I guess.
I see.
But I'm going to wear a shirt.
5601, we've already gotten them thinking about it. So,
well, there's going to be food there, too. So.
Uh-huh. You don't want to get any on your shirt. Huh?
That's true. Yeah.
There we go. We're going to get Ken on that. Now, if you have been thinking about your pain, if you're tired of living in pain, feeling like nobody's listening to you, I have a solution for you, and it involves the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. I can thank Dr. Gill for my shoulder issue resolution. Bottom line is this. I would not have known about the cause of the issue if it were not for Dr. Wendy at the Dr. Gill Center. And Dr. Wendy said, you need to get a deeper look at this because it is bone related. She called it a bone spur. It's known technically in the business as a goat's beard, but it began the process of getting me healing through the Dr. Gill Center because here's the deal. They tell you that you can avoid the surgery, but when it comes time, if need be, obviously, you can get done what is needed to be done. Now, my lower back feels great. My upper back feels great. My neck feels great. Thank you to Dr. Wendy, Dr. V, Dr. Dominic, and the rest of the team at the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. CallMePainFree.com is the website. CallMePainFree.com or call them today, 615-882-4838, 882-4838 for the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Attorney General Pam Bondi says in a letter to newly sworn-in FBI Director Kash Patel that the FBI is withholding Jeffrey Epstein documents. She wants all of them turned over to her by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. She says in a letter to Patel that before he was confirmed as FBI Director, she was assured by FBI agents in New York that the 200 documents turned over to her on Epstein was all there is. Now she says she's learned there are thousands of documents, and that's what she wants turned over to her by tomorrow. Earlier today, several social media influencers posted images of them holding binders with the Epstein Files Phase 1 on the cover that they say they were given, but there's been no reports of any of what may be in the binders containing any new evidence connecting the billionaire pedophile to any powerful people. A search warrant reveals new information about the death of 95-year-old legendary Hollywood actor Gene Hackman and his 63-year-old wife Betsy Arakawa and their dog. The bodies found in the New Mexico home late Wednesday. The warrant says the couple and their dog had been dead for some time. It appears the deaths are now being investigated as suspicious, as we hear in this report from Alex Stone.
It looks like that they had been dead for quite some time. That, not to get too gruesome, but their bodies had decomposed and nobody had seen them in weeks. That if it was a carbon monoxide leak or some other gas, which, by the way, the gas company responded. They are now helping out investigators, but they responded to the scene. They found no signs of any gas leaks. But if there had been one weeks before and the door had been ajar, then that gas could have escaped through there and there would be no signs of it.
Here in Tennessee, Channel 4 says Democratic State Senator London Lamar says she's going to file 2 bills next week to erase what she says is $150 million in medical debt owed by Tennesseans. One bill would block credit agencies from putting a person's medical debt on their credit report. The other bill says a hospital that takes tax dollars for uncompensated care, like someone without insurance, must stop collection on that bill and let that person know that collection has ended.
Healthcare should not be something that is a burden and can bankrupt you. Healthcare is about healing.
Now, Senator Lamar tried this last year, and it never made it out of committee. Right now in Nashville, the victim of the robbery at Green Hills Mall nearly a month ago is now a suspect. Metro Police say they're searching for 31-year-old Genesis Denton, who was robbed of his Louis Vuitton purchases and then fled in a rented Volvo SUV before police got there. The driver of the getaway car, Emmanuel Easley, had been shot as he sped away with the robber in tow. They crashed, and Easley later died. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Gentlemen, let's talk real for a moment. You'll come to a point in your life, most of you, where you just can't perform in the manner that you'd like to or that you used to with bedroom activities. Now, I'm being gentle about the process, but let me tell you something. At Tennessee Men's Clinic, they get right to it. One of their qualified and professional urologists will come to you, will help you, will examine you, will figure out what's going on with your blood work and et cetera, and we'll get to the bottom of your issue, whether it's a T-level issue, like a testosterone issue, or what it might be. And they have a program of success for you to get you back to intimacy again, to get you back to life again. That's what it's all about. You can handle this situation, but with a telephone call and a scheduled appointment with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And I encourage you to do just that. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Don't put this off any longer. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or call today at 615-208-9090. They have a location in Franklin and one in Midtown. 615-208-9090. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
Got a crash reported 17th Avenue and West End, then in Donaldson, Lebanon, Pike, and Despain Drive. Other than that, you've just got the usual brake tapping trying to get home in the usual places. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A lively first 2 hours, and we've got another 2 to go on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Samantha, Jonathan, if you're hanging in there, continue to do so. We'd love to talk with you about a variety of different issues. Your telephone call is very important to us, 615-737-9986. If you're just joining us, perhaps just in your automobile, maybe you're still at home, maybe you're at your place of business. I don't know where you are, but if you are listening, thank you for giving us some time today. We appreciate you. Let's catch you up to what's going on. Epstein files, I don't even know what you would say, released? There was a public document release amongst a couple of quote-unquote social media influencers. It's all just very disappointing, and the optics are cringy, to say the least. Gross really is the word that comes to mind. I don't know what else to say about it. I hope that everything is released. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt to the people that deserve it. Pam Bondi seems to be less than impressed about what she has received. But here's the deal. Pam Bondi set up the expectations last night on Jesse Waters' television show. Pam Bondi was there saying, oh, yeah, we've got to redact some things and protect the victims, but we're going to get it out there, and we're starting tomorrow with phase 1. And now, why would you not release that entire profile to the entire American public or the world? Why would you just put it in a binder and give it to select? You give it to some of these influencers, and I don't have anything against these individual people, but they seem like children. I'm not trying to do this in a way that, presents me as a grumpy old man, but they're very young-looking people, and they're coming out of the White House. Have y'all seen the image of them smiling with the binders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that they got commemorative hats?
I did not notice that.
Go look at the image. Like, wow. All of them have little hats that they've been given, little commemorative MAGA hats. Everybody one got a dark MAGA, and one got a white one, and one's got two that looks to be attached to her purse. Well, isn't that nice? You got commemorative hats along with your binder describing child rape. I mean, and you're smiling, and it's bad, bad, bad. Look, I applaud Donald Trump and his administration for trying to get to the bottom of this. I applaud Pam Bondi for seemingly trying to get to the bottom of this. I hope that Kash Patel is getting his feet underneath him and is trying to get to the bottom of this. But now we recognize that there is someone inside of the Federal Bureau of Investigation that is attempting to prevent the release of this information, and there's no reason to prevent the release of this information except to protect wrongdoers. Everyone involved says that they are willing to protect the victims here. That is not the point. The point is to find out who was doing the things and when they were doing the things, to find out who used their power, influence, money, and control to do bad things to good people. That's all. Speaking of good people, it is always a pleasure to welcome our good friend Congressman John Rose to the program to talk about budgets and Washington, D.C., and plenty of other matters. Congressman Rose, it's a pleasure to speak with you. How are you, John?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Well, it's always a pleasure to do so. I want to ask you about budgets. Obviously you voted for the budget. I guess what are we calling it? The budget resolution package? Is that a fair way to characterize it?
Just budget resolution.
Talk to us about. Obviously you were joined by 217 of your colleagues. Only one Republican. And we kind of understand where Thomas Massey's coming from at this point. He just has drawn a line in the sand, and he refuses to step over it under any circumstances. But walk the people of the state of Tennessee through your process in deciding that this moves the ball forward enough that you can support it.
Sure. I think, well, first of all, I would say this is what the president has asked for, and obviously the American people gave him a very strong mandate with the election results last November. And so, I think that, frankly, it's Congress's job to help the president put in place his conservative vision for restoring the greatness of America. And when he gives this a thumbs up, it seems to me that that's the signal that we need. Someone has to make the play call. And in this case, he endorsed this action that's been being, crafted here for several weeks. And so that's enough for me. Obviously, if I, was doing it, it might be somehow different. But at the end of the day, we have to get to the majority in the current House. And so, I'm going to take the president's, indication of how he wants us to do, to proceed. And I'm going to follow that. So then more broadly beyond that, I would just say, the features of this budget resolution are that, number one, it keeps us from having a $4.5 trillion tax increase that would hit Americans and particularly small businesses and working Americans particularly hard. And so I think that's an important feature of it. And it goes a long way toward starting to bend the spending curve in Washington. And frankly, it sets the stage for us to be able to push through the ultimate budget reconciliation process, which will come here in a few weeks as the follow-on to this, that will actually start to implement so many of the president's priorities. And so for me, that's really the answer. We can certainly wade into the weeds about it, but I'm disappointed that we have, it was necessary. Ultimately, everyone got there except for Thomas. And Thomas is a friend, and I like Thomas. And you're right, he comes from a little bit different place. But, my message to Thomas would be, what is it that could have been accomplished that would have been better? And so why would you vote with the 214 Democrats against an opportunity to move the ball forward?
Congressman John Rose, our guest on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk. So off the top of your head, this is not a gotcha, but can you recall or do you know the last time that Congress passed a budget before the fiscal year was done on September 30th?
Let's see. So I think that's going to be a while. Probably they did it when Diane Black, my predecessor, was in the House. So I think they did it actually in 2017, that they passed it in, and then, they used the reconciliation process that year. So I think they were doing that not in arrears, but prospectively. I'm pretty sure they were.
Well, I saw the 217. The one that I had was 1997, John. One way or the other, it has been a long time. Are you hopeful? I mean, because obviously, for those who don't know, Congressman Rose and I are talking about a budget that was due last September. And I'm not knocking y'all. I know that you're trying your best. And obviously now you have a president in Donald J. Trump that is advancing the ball forward quite aggressively with his Department of Government Efficiency. And I ask you about that in just a moment. But are you hopeful that once we get this resolution process behind us, and we're certainly hopeful that the Senate and the House will come together in joint committee, are you hopeful that we can get the ball moving on next year's? I mean, I know that it's just, almost March, but it feels like we better get going on that if we want to get back to a semblance of regular order on all of this.
I think that's right, and I think you're right to note that when you say we should have done this by last September, we should have passed the budget resolution last spring,
right?
In January, February, March, that time frame, and then the appropriations process, which is what follows. So think of the budget resolution as essentially the plan, and then the appropriations is actual execution of the plan. And so we've now passed the plan, and that sets the stage for us to then pass the execution through using this process called reconciliation. And the reason that matters is because on the Senate side, it gets you to where you just need a majority instead of a supermajority in order to pass the appropriations. And so obviously we can pass it just with Republican votes if all of our Republicans will stick together.
And do you believe that these appropriation bills will happen singularly as opposed to getting them?
No, they'll come out of committee. So the authorizing committees will take these up now, riding to the level and the mark that is in this budget resolution that just passed. And the plan then is they will all get wrapped up into a single item that will be the budget reconciliation bill, hopefully to pass on the House side, then go to the Senate and hopefully pass there as well. And then what that will do is it will keep taxes where they are, which of course was so important to the economic growth that we saw during the first Trump administration, only cut short really by COVID. And then of course the economy kept moving forward after that. And then, I think also here will be the funding for defense, funding to complete the border wall, and to give the funding to President Trump to execute on his plan to get, violent, illegal immigrants out of our country, and a host of other things like that, and putting in place a pretty significant 10-year level of cuts that will begin to happen. And then you're right. The question is, can we turn right around and pivot from that and come back with what would be the 2026 budget resolution and reconciliation process? So we can do two bites at the apple. The plan is to get all of the policy provisions that we can around the president's priorities that have, monetary and spending attached to them, to get that done now as a part of this first effort, the one big beautiful bill, if you will, and then come back and pick up, whatever loose ends there are with another reconciliation process later this year.
Congressman John Rose is with us right now on the Matt Murphy Show. Congressman, obviously DOJ has been very busy in the first month plus of the new Trump administration. They are clearly walking up to the line of congressional authority. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you believe that they have gotten to the line? Do you believe that certain aspects of what they are attempting to do need to be codified by the Congress? And do you at all think that they have crossed to the line in terms of executive authority versus congressional authority?
Well, I think that's a kind of a fuzzy line. So I guess, I'm not sure I have enough visibility to know. There'll probably be some mistakes made. But again, I think the American people, the president telegraphed what he wanted to do, and I think the American people want to see him supported in doing that. And so the other side is pushing back. The part of the story that I think is underreported, or perhaps not reported at all in most venues, is that what we had the Biden administration doing in those last several months of trying to spend every dollar they could, trying to flush money out the door as fast as they could, trying to hire as many ideologues into open government positions as they could. And so, this is not a new exercise where the outgoing administration tries to stack the deck as much as they can, and then the incoming administration has to try to ferret all that out and stop it. And so, we do have the difference, I suppose, is that we have the richest man in the world who is, made himself available to the president to help, ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think you see him doing it with exacting efficiency, and that upsets the other side, and they're going to fight back, and that's their prerogative to do so. I think they do so, though, at the potential, peril of showing the American people their cards. I mean, they're advocating for things that the American people want to see done, which is to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in our government and prioritize spending that actually is meant to accomplish the goals that the American people want. So I think there's a real peril for the Democrats. The president, I think, has really got their number. He is picking out issues like getting men out of women's sports that are 80% issues. And then the Democrats are reflexively against that. Just because they've got this Trump and now Musk derangement syndrome, and so they just reflexively decide they're against these things without really pulling back and evaluating, wait a second, if 80+% of the American people are for it, maybe it's not a good place to be on the other side of it. And so I think the president has that mandate, and I hope they keep moving forward. And I know firsthand from the things that we've gotten involved in, there have been a few places where the cuts maybe affected something, excuse me, that was unintentional. And the administration has moved quickly and swiftly in the cases that I'm aware of to fix those problems. And so, I give them great credit for that. And we also have to keep in mind, they've been on the job 30 days, a few more than 30 days
Right.
at this point, 37 days. And so they don't have their team fully on the ground yet. Many of the positions have not yet been confirmed. And so I think it's really encouraging that the president is as well organized. His team is coming in and are able to take these things on.
No, it's what I mean. You're saying it exactly right, John. I mean, at this point, the President Donald Trump could tell the American people not to drink motor oil, and liberals would immediately respond by demanding that everyone drink motor oil. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous. All right, so John, in the few minutes that we have left, I want to address this. Do you know what happens when I type your name, John Rose, into the Google machine right now?
Well, you may get a picture of my son making funny faces on the internet. I don't know.
You get some of that. Here, let me headline. WSMV4, Tennessee Congressman John Rose announces run for governor. Williamson Herald, Representative John Rose announces run for governor. WKRN News 2, Tennessee Congressman John Rose actively making plans for gubernatorial run. WZTZ-TV, Congressman John Rose announces he's running for governor. And it goes on, John. I could go on, but I don't want to waste your time. John, have you announced that you are running for governor?
I think the one headline there that got it closest to right is that I'm actively making plans. And so that's the way I would say it right now. It is my anticipation and strong belief that I will decide to run, and we're making plans in that direction.
Well, I mean, tell us what goes into that decision-making process. And, if you can, I'm not asking you to make if you want to make an announcement on the Matt Murphy Show, John, you are welcome. But I'm not asking you to make that official announcement necessarily. But walk me through, what that process is like and what your expectation on time frame is.
Well, we're moving as swiftly as we can, and it's really about kind of dotting all the I's and crossing the T's. There's certainly some people that you'd like to visit with and talk with, before, kind of showing due regard and respect for their opinions and their views. And then there is just a lot of infrastructure that has to be put in place, a lot of kind of paperwork to be done. You want to do this right so that you don't stub your toe. And so we're assembling the team, if you will, and want to be ready when we come to the point to make that decision and announce it to the public that we're ready, and we're ready to communicate what my vision is as a candidate, and ready to make the case to the people of Tennessee that I can be the next governor of Tennessee and lead the state and address the issues that are of importance to Tennessee.
Well, and when as you talk to your family, as you talk to your inner circle about this decision-making process, and once again, if you're close to finalizing that decision and making the official announcement, what leads you in that direction? What do you believe are the priorities that the next governor of the state needs to focus on?
Well, very good question, and there are some significant ones. I think it would be easy for us to rest on our laurels in Tennessee. We have low taxes, low debt, low regulation, a hospitable business environment, and just a hospitable social environment. That's what is causing so many people to move to Tennessee. That's what causes us to appreciate that we live in our state. But we're growing quickly, and, the world is changing around us, and so we've got to be careful, I think, as we move forward to make sure that we safeguard what makes Tennessee special. And so I think the next governor, the next 8 years beyond Governor Lee's administration will be a critical time frame where we've got to, seize the opportunity from the foundation that we find ourselves on, which is a good place to be, but make sure then we make careful decisions. And so to kind of just rip off the things that I think are the most important, I think education is still a critical need for our state to get right. we can't continue to not be a high-performing state in terms of education. The good news is we've seen a lot of positive steps taken to get us down that path, and we see the pay dirt. The recent scores indicate that some success is being achieved, and so, but we want to build on that. And so the good news for Tennesseans is, we're doing well, and the better news is we can do even better if we just continue to make careful decisions. Second, infrastructure is a problem. Anybody who drives on our streets and highways and interstates knows this, and so we've got to figure out how we're going to get in front of that. Again, Governor Lee has taken some important steps, but we've got more that we've got to do. We've got a health care access problem in our state, particularly in rural areas where we have a lot of counties that don't have access to emergency care. We've had a lot of rural hospitals close, and so we've got a lot that has to happen there. We have a mental health crisis in our state, and that's really true across the country. So we've got things to do there. So access to health care, including mental health care, I think is an important thing. And then this next issue is one that we haven't had to think about in the past, but we've got to think very strategically about energy in our state. We've always had TVA doing a great job there, and we kind of just don't think about it. You flip the switch, you expect the lights to come on. But increasingly, there's a challenge around that, and so we've got to make sure that we are doing everything the state can do to foster and encourage and provide the environment so that TVA can continue to be successful and our local power distributors can succeed. And then finally, all of that feeds into economic development. And the way I would say it there is we've got to be more choosy going forward in terms of what we do in the economic development arena. We've always been chasing the opportunity to bring jobs to our state. Sometimes we've found, though, that we bring employers to our state that immediately turn around and want to tell us what our values should be. And so we've got to be careful about that as a state. We've got to make sure that when we bring someone into our state that they're not coming here to try to turn us into California.
Well,
so,
it's a question well answered, John. And I'm sorry I don't mean to cut you short, but I'm way over time. But I cannot. This is my headline. You ready for my headline? You ready for my headline?
Yes, sir.
John Rose is not officially announcing that he is in fact running for governor of the state of Tennessee in 2026. You don't have to respond to that. That's Matt talking, not John talking. Congressman, it is a pleasure. I know you'll be back with us very, very soon, and I know you'll make that announcement on your time, and we appreciate you giving us some of your time tonight.
Thank you, Matt. It's a great honor and privilege to represent the people of Tennessee.
All right, take care. There's John Rose. We'll reflect on it. I'm way late. Thank you, Ken, for giving me a little time. Thank you, Chris, for giving me a little time. 28 after the hour on Super Talk. A promo makes me want to steal the Mona Lisa. Hey, friends, you probably know that I live in Mount Juliet. I don't have the Mona Lisa over there, but you know what? We do have a Eurofix. It's pretty cool, too. You know, Aaron Stokes started his company in a barn about 26 years ago in the backyard of his single-wide trailer. Now they have grown to 5 separate locations, repairing thousands of cars every month. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty. You get a free loaner car with every repair appointment, and they now have a shop in Mount Juliet. That's right. Adding to their Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murphysboro, and Belmead locations now in Mount Juliet, right across the street from the Dairy Queen. I see it all the time. You can go over and get you a dipped cone while they're working on your car or giving you that 15-minute no-wrench inspection at Eurofix. Go to myyurofix.com. That's myyurofix.com or call 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Eurofix.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and there is outrage over a group of social media influencers posting images of themselves holding binders purported to be files pertaining to billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who leads a task force charged with declassifying federal materials, is slamming the document release as a ploy for media attention and demands that they be given the information that they've asked for. Attorney General Pam Bondi, in a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, directs him to deliver all of the files to her by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. She claims in the letter that before Patel was confirmed, she was assured by FBI agents in New York that all that had been turned over to her was all that there is. But Bondi claims in the letter she has since learned there are thousands of other documents, and she wants it all by tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. That would be 7 o'clock Middle Tennessee time. Here's a New Mexico sheriff investigating the death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife and dog, found last night by a maintenance worker who had gone to the home.
All I can say is they have been deceased for quite a while. You know, that's a determination that's better suited for OMI and the experts, but it sounds like they had been deceased for a while, and I don't want to take a guess in reference to how long that was.
Hackman's wife was found dead with pills around her and a space hitter next to her head. Nearby, their German Shepherd was dead inside a kennel in the closet, and in a mudroom, Gene Hackman was found dead. The sheriff says there was no indication of a struggle or anything missing from the home or anything disturbed. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Picking up some crashes now. We've got the right shoulder block 40 eastbound before Charlotte Avenue. Then on the west end, 440 westbound before exit 1. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, Dr. Poss and Dr. Brian McLaughlin have addressed the issue involving sleep apnea, especially for those of you who are perhaps CPAP intolerant. Let's talk about it. I could never imagine that I could wear a CPAP machine with the hose and the big mask. I believe that it would be too invasive, could not do it. I don't have to worry about that, thanks to Dr. Poss and Dr. McLaughlin and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center, because they have an FDA-approved device that it fits in your mouth. It's describe it as like a football mouthpiece or a retainer. It is a plastic device that is fit specifically to your mouth. They do a 3D image of the mouth. They did mine, and it's pretty cool, the manner in which they do it. And afterwards, they fit it to your mouth. You wear it on a nightly basis. It gently holds that jaw forward, and there you go. You don't snore anymore because it keeps the airways open. That means that your partner doesn't have to deal with the snoring. It means that you continue to breathe throughout the course of the night. So you are healthier and everybody's happier. They're in network with most insurance companies in the state of Tennessee. 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. Find out more at drposs.com. drposs.com. drposs.com for Dr. Poss, Dr. McLaughlin, the TMJ Solution Center. I will reread the Pam Bondi letter delivered to Kash Patel, the director of the FBI. Pam Bondi, of course, the Attorney General of the United States of America. I will reread that letter in full coming up just after Nincompoops in the News, perhaps at around 6 o'clock. It is important that you hear that because I was as frustrated with Pam Bondi as anybody. But I'm trying to calm down and reflect on all of what's happened today regarding the Epstein files. And as bad as it seems, it is always darkest before dawn. And apparently people in the Southern District of New York, in the FBI division of the Southern District of New York, were withholding information. And according to Pam Bondi, she wants it all, and she wants it all by tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And Kash Patel works for her. And by extent, they both work for Donald Trump. But in the order of hierarchy, the FBI director is answerable to the Attorney General. I don't think that they are equal cohorts. I think that the FBI director is subordinate to the Attorney General of the United States of America. One's a cabinet-level position, one is not. And so if that is the case, then Kash Patel has to turn it all over. And apparently there's about 800 more pages and audio and video that Pam Bondi is demanding. Now, as far as this horrible photo op that happened earlier today, what an embarrassment. And let us hope that the President of the United States and those that manage this situation, I don't believe that Donald Trump knew anything about the situation, but whomever. Did he?
According to one of the influencers, she wrote in her Instagram post that Bondi personally delivered the documents to the group in a meeting that President Trump joined. She wrote that FBI Director Kash Patel and Vice President J.D. Vance were there.
And that's just, that's disheartening. All of that's disheartening. So if she knew... Dadgummit.
This is according to influencer Jessica Reed Krause.
Did she not know at the time that it was being delivered that she was not getting all the goods?
That's what we don't know.
Right? And if that's the case, then why did she go through with it? Why didn't she just call it all off and stop all of this nonsense?
Yeah, I don't know when this letter was written.
Well, we need to find out what the deal with the letter is, and we will attempt to do so as more information comes out. But I'll read you the entire letter coming up in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Right now at 5:41, let's all calm down for a moment. You know, as bad as it seems, as frustrating as it is, if you look in the mirror and you feel like you haven't had a good day, and maybe you've not performed at your best, maybe you feel like you're a little bit of a nincompoop. I promise you, there's somebody that's more of a nincompoop than you. And we shall deliver at least 3 of them and maybe even more on this edition of Nincompoops in the News. Ken Weaver, Chris Webber, Matt Murphy. We are not nincompoops, I hope.
Well,
you never know.
Not yet.
I look forward to the day where one of us tells a story of nincompoops in the news and it's about another of us. Why do I feel like I'm going to be the first one?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, too.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
All right, rock, paper, scissors, bump, bump, bump. Chris, you go first.
All right.
I wasn't ready for that.
I mean, I got my scissors out. Boop, boop.
I had a rock. That beats scissors.
Have y'all seen the video that's running around where the 2 people are playing rock, paper, scissors, and there's a guy that has a little trash can lid between them, and they got cream pies, like those, the cream custard pies that you smash people in the face with, like whipped cream pies. And the loser of the rock, paper, scissors gets a smash in the face. But the guy is telling one of the people right before he lifts the thing. And so the one guy keeps losing, and he doesn't understand how he keeps losing. He's getting more and more frustrated. It's very funny.
Love it.
Look it up. That's the good part of social media. All right. Well, Weber, you can go first. You can go last. I don't even care.
I'll go first.
All right, go.
All right, mine comes from China. Quite a few from China. A Chinese student sparked a fire in his dormitory after he tried to hide his girlfriend from his roommate. You wonder, okay, well, how does this happen? Dormitory building at the Hefei University of Technology in central China back on February 10th. The student's roommate arrived home unexpectedly, leading the panicked student, whose identity has not been released, to take his girlfriend, I'm using air quotes, girlfriend, into the hallway and setting her on fire.
What?
What? His girlfriend was an inflatable doll.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so he takes it out in the hall, sets it on fire.
Doesn't he know the old tie on the doorknob trick?
I guess not.
I guess not.
It sparked a bigger blaze than he anticipated, set off the fire alarms as flames and smoke filled the building.
Man, she was on fire last night.
She was hot.
A security guard contacted the fire department, and they extinguished the fire before any damage to property or students was done. A dormitory then later sends out a statement about the incident and warned other students to not do the same. Quote, please do not use open flames to handle silicone items or other flammable materials in the building. Items that are no longer needed can be disposed of in the rubbish bin.
In the rubbish
you very
bin.
much.
Do you smoke after sex? Sometimes.
She does.
Maybe.
She melts.
Maybe you're not doing it right.
She's so hot, she melts.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, I'll go second because Ken's going to win anyway. A woman has been charged with operating a prostitution business in a New Jersey massage parlor that she owns. This, according to investigators, the 63-year-old female operates the Oasis Spa, which was raided last week by police officers who discovered a large quantity of I never could say this word. A large quantity of
prophylactics.
Condoms. Large quantity of condoms. I can't say it again, Ken.
Prophylactics.
Prophylactics. Hidden within a mattress in the back makeshift bedroom of the supposed Oasis Spa. That according to a probable cause affidavit. Additionally, at least one condom was found, quote, hidden in a plant in the massage room. The search of the spa stemmed from a probe of, quote, workers engaging in the solicitation of prostitution at the business in Denville, New Jersey, a town about 30 miles from New York City. During police questioning, a 67-year-old Oasis Spa worker reportedly admitted to engaging in, and providing certain activities that I will not get into here on what we try to be a clean program.
Quoted as saying, what do you think about that?
Let me just say that there are two phrases that I could use here, and they both end in jobs. In exchange for money, the search of the residence yielded a large quantity of U.S. currency hidden in the owner's bedroom. And the same style prophylactic, I said it right that time.
Way to go, Brother Murphy.
I think it's the F that I've been missing there. Was located in the Oasis Spa found in the bedroom. During a stem-to-stern interview with police officers, the proprietor of the business said she, quote, does not verify identities of her employees or check their identification, apparently acknowledged that the Oasis Spa had numerous online complaints and reviews for explicit sexual acts.
Almost sounds like she's trying to say, I don't know what they're doing back there.
That's right. I don't know who they are or what they're doing. I just give them space to do it. According to New Jersey state records, Oasis Spa House was formed in May of 2022 by the owner of the business. Oh, the owner of the business's name is Soon Bang. Forgot to mention that.
She didn't know a thing. Soon bang.
Soon bang.
Bang. Soon bang. Soon bang. Anyway, that's my Soon Bang is my nincompoop in the news. Mr. Weaver.
All right. A married Indiana teacher allegedly sexually abused several students, then sent explicit photos of her sex toys and stripper pole, then blamed the twisted perversion on her 150-pound weight loss. Eminence Community School's math teacher, Brittany Fortenberry, age 31, hit with several sex charges. Interviewed about the initial allegations, Fortenberry told police she regretted shedding 150 pounds in weight, saying she would have acted differently if she was still fat. Fortenberry has been charged with sexual misconduct with a minor, dissemination of matter harmful to a minor, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor, the report said. A police investigation into the incident is ongoing. Apparently, there is a 15-year-old boy who apparently came forward and said there are as many as 10 others.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Not my fault. It's just Hot Body's fault.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen this smoking hot body?
Take a look at this.
I mean, look at me. Can you blame me? Good grief.
Was her name Soon Bang? No.
No. Her name was Brittany
Fortenberry.
Fortenberry. Yeah, 31-year-old.
You know, Fortenberry sounds like the last name of a large chick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Patricia.
I ask again. What makes you think you're going to get away with this?
I mean, 25 years ago, you might have gotten away with it for a little while.
The problem has always been, now in this case, I mean, how many? We're talking 10 or more, at least?
As many as 10.
Well, I mean, you're just a moron. I mean, you're just a complete imbecile. And you're not only wrong for doing what you're doing to minors, you're also stupid. But the problem has always been, especially when it's women, and I can't help it. I look at it differently when the genders are different.
Right.
I look at it differently.
Right.
But the problem has always been you're dealing with 15 or 16 or 17-year-old boys, and they cannot keep their mouths
They're going to tell everybody.
They're going to tell everybody they know.
Yep.
Absolutely. And she shouldn't have done it. I mean,
obviously not. No.
He's, you always think whenever we were teenagers,
I never had any
never
teachers
mind.
like that.
Anyway, Fortenberry's a nincompoop. Not Ken Weaver.
Never mind. I just do the news, boys. I just do nincompoops in the news, boys.
That's all I do, boys.
I know, and before y'all light me up for what I just said, I know that it's not right.
It's not. No, it's not.
I do look at it differently.
By the way,
same.
Fox News just sent out a breaking alert.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Epstein list. Attorney General Pam Bondi releases highly anticipated DOJ documents.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But the story is not clear as to whether or not this is in addition to what was already released. So I don't know what's going on with this thing.
Okay, so I've got something online. Oh, well, yeah. I've got something online. There's a lot of weird stuff going on online right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is going on with this. It says right here in the story from Fox, a federal court ordered thousands of pages of sealed records to be made public last year. They revealed nearly 200 names, many of which belong to people who were not accused of crimes. But this is not clear as to what this story says she has released.
Well, and it's becoming pretty obvious to me, and I hope that this gets to the level of the President of the United States and he begins to understand this. It's becoming pretty obvious to me that there are some people in D.C. that think this is just a big old joke.
Apparently so.
Because the House Judiciary GOP on the X machine, and this is the official Twitter for the House Committee of the Judiciary for the Republicans, chaired by Jim Jordan, followed by 540,000 people, issued something at 2:40 today saying, breaking, Epstein files released, and it had a link. And the link was to the Rick Astley video, the Rickroll video.
Wow. All right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
The one that came out, give you up. No.
Yeah.
Now, it's since been disabled because we're now to 552. But who would think that person needs to be fired?
Absolutely.
Whoever did this optic where everybody's got y'all see the commemorative hats?
Yes, I did.
Everybody had a little commemorative hat coming out of there.
I had two of them.
So, everybody's getting handed out hats. Oh, here's your rape file where minors were raped, and here are your hats.
Well, and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is not happy.
Shouldn't be.
I mean, she posted that this was a publicity stunt, basically, is what she says.
That's what it feels like.
And she says, this is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Then in all caps, get us the information we asked for.
This is just Every aspect of this is just shameful. It's shameful. We will reset at the top of the hour, and I will invite you to give us a call at the top of the hour to tell us where you are. I'll get out of the way. I'm not going to go off on a rant again, but my goodness, I could. Because someone needs to get to the President of the United States of America and express to him how serious the American people are treating this and how seriously it needs to be treated. And we're being told by certain members of these influencers that the president was there or at least attended portions of the meeting. And
yeah, that's according to Jessica Reed Krause.
Come on.
Who wrote in an Instagram post that Bondi personally delivered the documents to the group in a meeting that President Trump joined. She wrote that FBI Director Kash Patel and Vice President J.D. Vance were also there.
And I want to give all of these people the benefit of the doubt. It's getting increasingly difficult to do so. 54 after the hour. It is. Oh, by the way, that's Nincompoops in the news for what it's worth, but we won't do all of that. We'll say 54 after the hour on Super Talk. I don't know about all that. I think I've got some pretty nice locks. They're going to be cut pretty soon. Hey, friends, let's talk for a moment about Genesis Diamonds. They have an incredible thing going on tomorrow and Saturday, and I want to tell you all about it. I don't know if you've ever thought about a dream watch, right? But when you think about a dream watch, a lot of times you think about a Rolex, and there's so many different styles, like the Daytona, the Submariner, the Pepsi, the Batman. Every Rolex model imaginable can be found at this huge 2-day sale at Genesis Diamonds. There's 2 days, there's 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Let's think about this. If you've wanted to be a Rolex owner and you think it's out of reach, think about this. One, you're never going to find a pre-owned Rolex at a better price than these 2 sale days, Friday and Saturday at Genesis Diamonds. And during this event, not only are you taking advantage of the incredible special pricing on a Rolex, you get to up to 60 months zero interest financing. Ask about this. When you go into the store, ask the store about the details of the special. Ask them about their supplies. Because, listen, folks, with the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex, you're going to also receive a pair of 3-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings of the highest quality at no cost to you, absolutely free. It's an amazing opportunity. So if you've ever dreamed of a Rolex, this is the weekend to do it. Friday and Saturday at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Efficient Heating and Cooling understands that it's hard to find someone that you can trust to repair your heater if it goes down or to maintenance your AC before the springtime becomes hot, and it's already, frankly, we've already gotten into the 70s and it's not even March. Well, it's time to schedule that AC maintenance. And I know you don't want to do it. I get it. But listen, it's going to save you a lot of money, because you could get a costly repair over the summer months, and that's going to cost you. Well, with Efficient Heating and Cooling, it will never cost you over $125, no matter how many residential units you might have. That's a pretty good deal. And oftentimes, it costs you a lot less than that. One of their certified technicians will come out. They will maintenance your unit. They won't try to upsell you on anything. They'll identify problems if they exist, tell you all about them. Now, if you have to do what you have to do in terms of replacing the unit, well, you'll get the quality recommendation from Efficient Heating and Cooling. They're Elite Pro partner with Rheem. They can help you out, find the right unit for you. Call 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for Efficient.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And there is outrage over a group of social media influencers posting images of binders they were given today that said the Epstein files, phase 1, purported to be files pertaining to billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who leads a task force charged with declassifying federal materials, is slamming this document release as a ploy for media attention. She is demanding that they be given, quote, the information we asked for. Now, one of the influencers, this is according to CBS News, one of the influencers, Jessica Reed Krause, wrote in an Instagram post that Bondi personally delivered these documents to the group in a meeting that President Trump joined. We're talking about Attorney General Pam Bondi. Wheeler also wrote that FBI Director Kash Patel and Vice President J.D. Vance were also in attendance. Fox News reported late this afternoon that Attorney General Pam Bondi wrote a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel indicating there are thousands more pages, and the FBI, before he was confirmed, was hiding them. And she is directing Patel to deliver all of those files to her by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That'll be 7 o'clock Middle Tennessee time. She claims in the letter that before Patel was confirmed, she was assured that the documents the FBI did turn over to her was all that there is, but has since learned that there are thousands of other documents, and she wants them by 8 o'clock her time tomorrow. Well, here's the New Mexico sheriff investigating the death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife and dog, found last night by a maintenance worker who had gone to the home yesterday.
All I can say is they have been deceased for quite a while. That's a determination that's better suited for OMI and the experts, but it sounds like they had been deceased for a while, and I don't want to take a guess in reference to how long that was.
Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, was found dead with pills around her and a space heater next to her head. Nearby, their German Shepherd was dead in a closet, and then in a mudroom, Gene Hackman was found dead. The sheriff says there was no indication of a struggle or anything missing from the home had been disturbed. Right now in our nation's capital, WWE CEO Linda McMahon is one vote away from being confirmed as Education Secretary under President Trump. She heads to a final Senate vote after passing the final procedural hurdle of the process today. And here in Middle Tennessee, new developments in the investigation of the Brentwood stabbing. The man who was shot has died. Neighbors say that man was stabbing a woman repeatedly outside of a home on Long Hollow Road when another neighbor intervened, shooting the stabber several times. That alleged stabber has now died. The woman is recovering. Brentwood police say no charges have been filed, but the investigation's ongoing. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a crash with the right shoulder blocked 40 eastbound right before Charlotte Avenue. Then in Murfreesboro, a crash 24 eastbound at Joe B. Jackson Parkway. And then looks like also in Rutherford County, got a crash 24 westbound at Old Fort Parkway. That'll be in Murfreesboro. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Giving myself a neck ache. Hey, friends, final hour of the Matt Murphy Show. It's been a lively one. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sean's been holding a while. We'll get to you in a moment, Sean. I'd love to hear from you, 615-737-9986. Specifically, the temperature of the room on all of the news coming out about Jeffrey Epstein's files. We thought we were getting new information. We didn't. All of this was already publicly available information, sadly, and I have received a copy of the file by someone that I trust. It is 224 pages long, and I am through the first 200 pages of it, and I can tell you that, and I'm going to swiftly kind of move down to the bottom. Oh, here we go. There's some of the more annoying visitors massage, PB. I don't know what that means. There was a PB. There was a repeated flight log designation of PBI. Would you look up PBI and see what that is in airport terminology? Visitors massage PB. That's
Palm Beach.
Palm Beach. Well, that makes sense then. So the visitors massage would be the Palm Beach massage, which is completely redacted. I'm looking at that. Jeffrey E. Epstein redacted, Ghislaine Maxwell redacted. So here's what we got in this. Masseuses, and then it's redacting all of the masseuses because many of them would potentially be victims, actually, in this case. But there are all of them are redacted, but there are 254 masseuses listed. All right, so I've gone through the 224 pages, and I can tell you this. The first 120 pages are flight logs, Jeffrey Epstein flight logs, that were already made publicly available during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. The other every other page, with the exception of the first two, are Rolodex, and everything in the Rolodex of Jeffrey Epstein has been redacted except for the name of the individuals, because there's a location and telephone numbers. All of that has been redacted. And then at the end, there are a few pages with masseuses. All of it has been redacted in that case. But this does start with the letter from the Office of the Attorney General dated February 27th, 2025. And I'm going to read you that letter and get your thoughts on all of this. Now, if you're upset, you should be. We've learned nothing new. All of this is old information. We're told that New York is withholding information not only from the head of the FBI, but also from the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi. I've been watching our friends on #NeverCNN, and they seem completely uninterested in this story. As a matter of fact, for the last 2 hours, I've not seen one mention of this story on CNN. I watch CNN so you don't have to, friends. But let me read you the letter from the Office of the Attorney General. Now, this was included in the package that I received from a trusted source. So I don't know if it is a part of the package that these so-called influencers received earlier today when they got their commemorative hats and they were smiling and glad-handed and holding them up. Yay! hey, look at what we got. And it's a bunch of nothing. Just a gross misreading of the room, a gross misreading of the situation. This is not by any stretch of the imagination a deal breaker. I mean, obviously, Donald Trump's going to do great things in his first or second term. Donald Trump's going to do great things in his first 100 days, in his second 100 days. And all of this is eventually going to be worked out, one hopes. But I have a very difficult time understanding how anyone could not take this with the seriousness that it deserves. But sadly, this photo opportunity that happened at the White House earlier today, where, according to one of the influencers, as Ken Weaver has told you, where Pam Bondi was there and Kash Patel was there and Donald Trump made an appearance and Vice President Vance was apparently there, and all of them were there watching as these folders were handed out. First off, why would you not hand them out electronically to the entirety of the American people? You knew it would be leaked. Why are you going through the process of glad-handing influencers? I mean, genuinely, you know, I've got it, right? Like, it's 6:12 in the Central Time Zone. I've got it, so that's how long it took for me to get the entire thing that these people had. Why did you give it to them? I'm not upset that you didn't. I'm upset that you would do all of that. All of that's performative, and I don't understand why it happened. And before y'all go getting mad at me, it's okay to be annoyed at the Trump administration every once in a while. That's perfectly acceptable, especially when it's something like this that is completely and wholly avoidable. This letter that I'm about to read you does not at all jive with what apparently happened earlier this afternoon at the White House. Maybe at the time Pam Bondi thought that this was all of it, but it's not all of it. There's an additional thousands of pages and audio documents and video documents. Why is all of this important? Many of the people that involved themselves with the scummy, disgusting, evil practices of Jeffrey Epstein, many of those people will never be held to account in the proper fashion on this earth. I don't know if you believe as I do, but I believe that there will be an accounting for these individuals. Some of these people are accused of the most disgusting behavior imaginable outside of murder. Some people would make the argument that some of the behavior that's been accused is even worse because the victim is forced to live with what happened to them for the rest of their lives. We're talking about things like child rape, pedophilia. These individuals that have been accused and not convicted, not tried, accused, were some of the most powerful people on planet Earth. Some of them were powerful because of their money, others their influence. That power shielded them for a long time. That power shielded Jeffrey Epstein. His ability to blackmail these powerful individuals shielded Jeffrey Epstein. Somehow, and we don't go through, I don't need to go through all of the details here with you today. You can look it up for yourself, but somehow, some way, justice broke through with Jeffrey Epstein and eventually with Ghislaine Maxwell. But there are others that need to be held to account. There are people that should live the rest of their day, if not in a prison cell, in shame. They should be social lepers. We should all condemn them as a society, as a planet, for what some of them have been accused of doing. That is my interest. I hope it's yours. Dear Director Patel, writes the Attorney General of the United States, this happened today. Before you came into office, I requested a full the full and complete files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, a list of victims' names, and phone numbers. I just related that to you. That's what I just received. I repeatedly questioned whether this was a full set of documents responsive to my request and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, that would have been yesterday, right? This was written today. I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents relating to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings and limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of the victims and in accordance with law, as I've done my entire career as a prosecutor. I am also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know that we are both committed to the transparency for the American people. I look forward to continuing to work with you to serve our president and our country. Sincerely, Pamela Bondi, Attorney General. That was the first page of the document file that I received, which leads me to believe that that was the first page of the document file that all these people received. Which makes me wonder why in the hell they held that weird photo op. And why Pamela Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, did not step forward before a microphone and the American people and explain all of this to us publicly. Did she think there would be no interest? Did they think that this would be cute? Sean, thank you for your patience. I do appreciate it. You're up, brother.
No problem, Matt. Thanks for having me on, man. Big fan of the show.
Thank
you, Ken, and Chris, great chemistry, by the way. I'm digging the new lineup here. But
thank you.
We'll get right into the topic at hand. Obviously, we're talking
by
about
the way,
Epstein
before I let you go, I'm going to let you get on a roll. But before I let you go, of those two, one of those two is tip top. I'll tell you, one of those two.
Oh yeah, you're going to leave it to me to guess which one?
Tip top. The other, Anyway, but go right ahead, Sean.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, we'll get into the Epstein stuff here. The one thing I wanted to do first off is just give a disclaimer here. I'm completely politically impartial. I do not adhere to either side of the phony left-right dichotomy. To me, it's largely just serves as a way to divide the public and sort of provide us with two meaningless outlets. But I think one thing that nobody's really talking about regarding the Epstein situation is that this is a very unifying issue. This has the potential to completely unite the public. And that's a no-go for the global crime syndicate. The establishment who's trying to formulate a one-world government. And, I would just like to add one more thing that seems to be conveniently kind of glossed over or even overlooked by conservatives. It's not an indictment on conservatives. I'm just pointing out the obvious that there was evidence to support an extensive relationship between Mr. Epstein and Mr. Trump. And that's often overlooked, and it seems as if they're almost giving him the benefit of the doubt when perhaps he did not deserve it. All politicians should be held to the same standard. And I guess I'm just trying to remind everybody that we're all on the same team, and this issue is too important to just, to allow them to get away with this sort of soft disclosure where nothing really happens and nothing's leaked. And we're really just kind of on the same page. So those are really my thoughts on the situation.
Well, and I would agree with most everything you said. I think you take a little editorial license when you use the word extensive when it comes to the relationship between Trump and Epstein. But, that's fine. I'm not going to quibble with it, But there was a documented relationship between Epstein and Trump. There was Epstein had a documented relationship with a lot of powerful people, and not all of them engaged in his pedophilic behavior. Obviously. So I would agree with you that there are some that want to believe that relationship did not exist. just as many on the political left want to dismiss the relationship that existed between Clinton and right. I mean, those are the two, kind of tit for tat examples when it becomes political that always come up, right?
Exactly.
What I want is transparency and truthfulness. And because someone was on a flight, Trump's relationship with Epstein is documented in the flight logs and the several pictures that are available for public viewing. Obviously, Bill Clinton's a relationship, I almost said extensive, I won't say that, but relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, present on the flight logs, present with photographic documentation. I want to know the bottom line truth on all of his relationships, and I want to know how close any and all public, powerful individuals came to engaging in the ring that he was running. And, that's all I want to know.
This information is so detrimental to the overall integrity of the global crime syndicate that, in my opinion, really owns both parties. It just seems unlikely that we're going to get a full disclosure, and they're just going to kind of continue to sort of string us along with these, breadcrumbs to appease us. And I don't know. I'm not particularly hopeful, but I don't know. My fingers are crossed, I guess.
Well, we'll see. And I don't know that and thank you, Sean, for the call. I don't know quite what Sean means when he talks about the global crime syndicate. I mean, maybe I could have asked him, but, I don't know that Donald Trump has an ability to be controlled by anybody else. I'm not suggesting that Donald Trump has not done things that he regrets in his life privately. He will certainly not admit them publicly. And on the other hand, I would not suggest that Donald Trump is engaged in any sort of behavior that would be criminal in nature with regard to Jeffrey Epstein. But what we do know about Donald Trump lends me to believe that Donald Trump's not going to be in a situation where he is controlled by anyone else. That I do not believe is in his nature. But I could be wrong. Let's see. I just want the truth. I want transparency. I want the Band-Aid ripped off. It's high time it happened. 22 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare. It is a direct pay, affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medical healthcare program that I want to tell you all about. Now, this is a facility that I believe in. I've been to Grace Point Healthcare. I've walked through the facility. Ask them, by the way, when you go, when you schedule an appointment, ask them to see the old school bathroom. You'll absolutely love it. They rebuilt out a facility that has existed since, I believe, the 1960s when the old hospital was across the street in Franklin, and they kept a bathroom in a pristine 1960s-esque state. Just ask them to see it. It's fabulous. You'll absolutely love it. Now, Grace Point, in all seriousness, is a wonderful organization, and they do things a little bit differently. They are a direct pay system. Why? Because they don't want insurance companies getting in the way of what they do and how they treat you. They're a military veteran-owned practice, which is personally important to me. They treat naturally whenever possible, which is very important to me because they don't allow pharmaceutical companies to control them either. Friends, you really can't afford exceptional health care and exceptional medicine at your convenience. Located in the heart of Franklin, call them today for an appointment. And by the way, if you call, you'll get an appointment as soon as tomorrow. The heart of Franklin, 599-6868. That's 599-6868. Schedule your next medical appointment. Modern medicine, the old-fashioned way. Grace Point Healthcare.
Weather can change in an instant, and you need to be prepared for any outcome. That's why Generator Supercenter of Nashville will help keep your family safe and connected. We make buying a backup generator simple and easy, with financing options available, free in-home estimate, turnkey installations, no worry warranty, and most importantly, the monitoring and service of your fully installed generator. Come see us at our location in Nashville or visit us online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
Jeffrey Epstein files update, and Mexico seems to be trying to avoid tariffs by sending the U.S. a drug lord. We'll have these stories and more. The day's closing money news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A lot of reaction on the phone lines, a lot of reaction on the Super text line. You can join us on either 615-737-9986. That's the way to get it done. 8507. So the rich pay in the afterlife, the poor pay in prison. That's just a way of saying the rich doesn't pay or don't pay. Well, I never said it was right. I just said that's the reality that we're dealing with right now. Sadly, some of these folks that engaged in some of this activity will never pay for it on this earth. And I want them to pay as best we can make them pay, either through making them social lepers or shaming them. I don't understand anyone that would protect someone that does harm to a child, especially harm to a child in this way.
So this letter from General Bondi.
Yes.
Was this letter included in these binders?
Okay, so I believe it was, Ken, because I received a source from me for one of my sources sent me the 224 pages.
Okay.
And everything that I can see in the 224 pages checks out. It is corroborated by some of the leaks that we've seen online, and it checks out in terms of what Pam Bondi said was released to her.
Okay.
120 pages of the document are flight logs. The rest is the contact list for Jeffrey Epstein, mostly redacted, and then a victims list. And the first page of this document that I received, this PDF that I received, was the letter.
Okay. All right. So apparently there was some sort of they apparently brought these influencers to the White House. Then it looks like to do this phase one, but then possibly this letter indicates that we're going to get a lot more tomorrow.
But it also indicates that Pam Bondi fairly recently was not being told the truth by agents within the FBI.
Exactly.
So who knows? maybe we'll get more. I think if we can believe the tone of the letter, Pam Bondi is mad. That was the tone of the letter.
Yes.
And we don't know where Kash Patel is on all of this because Kash Patel is quiet. He's been quiet for the entire day, it seems. Now, maybe he has something to say about this tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I believe that there will be more to come. Whether the truth finally comes out, who knows?
So it looks like there could have been a little showmanship today before the real deal tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
but we'll see.
Well, don't know if it will be tomorrow because I would doubt
that letter.
Well, she says she wants it by 8 o'clock tomorrow.
By 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
But I don't think we're going to get it tomorrow. Then now, see, that's the frustrating thing.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Then she's got to go through it, and we got to see it, and we got to know what we can and can't release. It'll be a month from now.
Yeah, and she says she wants Patel to investigate and get back to her in
14
weeks.
days. Yeah, 14 days. 2213 says you can't always get what you want. What you need is a tampon and a tissue. Well, thank you for your regular listenership.
Okay.
Okie dokie. And then I don't do all the nice stuff. I do all the haters. 5252 says, this has been the poorest Matt Murphy show I've ever heard. Well, thank you for your listening.
Not a very long-time listener, I guess.
I mean, in a moment, we are going to break down what we think happened to Gene Hackman and his wife.
Boy, that's another one.
The dog was in a crate.
Apparently in a kennel.
Yeah,
is what the sheriff.
Yeah, I bet they mean a crate, like what I would call a crate, which indicates to me that the dog probably starved to death.
Goodness.
That's very sad because they were there for a length of time. We'll try to break it down for you in just a moment. Right now, it's time for the news. 32 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Jeffrey Epstein files update. Attorney General Pam Bondi, in a letter to FBI Director Kash Patel, is directing him to deliver every document on the billionaire pedophile to her by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That'll be 7 o'clock Middle Tennessee time. Now, earlier today, a group of social media influencers posted images of them with binders with the words, the Epstein Files Phase 1, but there's no word of anything new being in those files. It appears Mexico working hard to avoid tariffs. The Associated Press reporting drug lord Rafael Caro Quintero, who was behind the killing of a U.S. DEA agent in 1985, and 28 other prisoners requested by the U.S. government have been sent to the U.S. by Mexico. This comes as top Mexican officials are in Washington trying to head off the Trump administration's threat of tariffs. And in Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Major Wall Street indexes fell in Thursday trading. The Dow made morning gains, but was down 193 points at closing. The S&P fell 94, and the Nasdaq lost 531 points. Investors are keeping cautious over worries of persistent inflation and President Trump's ongoing threat of steep tariffs on imports. Shares of tech leader Nvidia fell despite a positive future profits report. Pending home sales in the U.S. slid to an all-time low last month, according to the National Association of Realtors. The pending home sales index, which measures sales based on contract signings, declined to 70.6 in January. High mortgage rates, record high prices, along with bad weather, combined to hinder buyers. The Consumer Finance Protection Board has ended its enforcement actions against some financial companies. Under the Trump administration, the CPFB has been ordered to halt nearly all work.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Okay, seeing a crash, Bell Road just east of Hickory Hollow Parkway. We've got the right shoulder block 40 eastbound before Charlotte Avenue. That crash reported by police. Usual slowdowns in the usual places. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, when it comes to large home repairs, a lot of times homeowners want to pretend that nothing is going on. They feel like they can just whistle past the graveyard. I love to say that phrase because it just illustrates what we do, right? If you pretend that you don't smell that smell, then the smell doesn't exist. Well, it does exist. If you pretend those cracks aren't there, then the cracks don't exist. Well, they do exist, and they will come to bite you on the tuchus if you don't deal with them. That's where USS comes in. They are problem solvers, and they are not afraid to get in there, figure out what's going on, and solve it as inexpensively as possible and to make it a permanent solution for you and your family. When they come out to your house, you get those problem solvers that don't try to upsell you on anything. They just get down to the foundation repair, the waterproofing that you need done, the concrete leveling that you need done, and they get it done. For the last 30-plus years, they have been taking care of business with USS. That's why they say they guarantee their best at USS. USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or call 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 1 hour ago, this posting from the FBI director, Kash Patel. 1 hour ago. The FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. And we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take is to the Constitution, and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. Okay. Okay. I believe you. I'm going to choose to believe you. And I hope that's true. Mike is next in Murfreesboro. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Mike.
First of all, I think we all fell for what we have always said we don't need to fall for. Nothing is as it seems at first glance. As you are reading these letters from the Attorney General and from Director Patel, I sit here thinking that, we jump to conclusions, we knee-jerk reactions and all that. As I was waiting for you to pick up on the line, I came across a video from, let me see what his name is, from Chad Prather. I think we all know who Chad is. He's a very outspoken, very conservative influencer. And he was saying in his video, he was one of the ones that got one of these packets. He was saying that these influencers were not there to get these packets. He said they were there for a session with all the higher-ups. For Rubio was there, Vance was there, everybody was there. RFK was there, everybody was there. And that meeting was for a session on communication between the White House and how to get that word out more efficiently and more directly to the general public. Pam Bondi came in and gave them all these packets. So I think, like I said initially, we all jumped to conclusions and with knee-jerk reactions. I don't think these influencers were there just because of the packets.
Well, I think Scott Pressler was there too, right?
I think so, but
and Prather was there. Prather's a comedian, I think.
But he's been for Trump from the very beginning.
Well, a million people have been. I'm not knocking who Prather is. I'm sure he's a very important person. But here's the interesting thing: is that all of them are kind of backing off this performative exercise that happened earlier. Who orchestrated it?
I agree. Yeah, and that was one of my comments to him.
If it's not a deal breaker. If someone wants, they don't even have to say anything. Just let it go. I'm fine with that. If it is made right. But Bondi was on Jesse Waters last night. She was declaring that that phase 1 would be released today. So somebody put the binders together. Somebody thought it was important enough. Somebody thought that it was a big enough deal that they were going to put this together, and they would give these people hats, and they would give them big binders and leave.
And all of this isn't really adding up to 100. Pam Bondi's email or letter, and then Kash Patel's email or letter. There's some missing pieces here. And as you have always said, if there's not 100% transparency, that's where the conspiracy theories start to fly out.
Well, here's the thing. Pressler put out a piece, and I don't know if Prather said anything about it, but Pressler put out a piece and said, I was told, now he received the documents, and he talked about the documents that he received, and he posted this at 5 o'clock today, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've already received them, but he said that I was told there was an embargo on the information, and out of respect for the president, his administration, and the seriousness of this alleged crime, I'm holding on to the binder until Bondi does a presser sharing the information or releasing it to the public.
That's what Pressler said, that there was more to come, and
but what is that? What is that? There's an embargo on the. Well, then why are you giving it to some social media folk?
Right.
I mean, I don't. It's almost like
it don't add up, man.
It's just weird. It's just weird.
It is weird, right?
I just and by the way, if I'm interested in truth, and you hand me what I consider to be truth, and you go, "Hey, embargo that," but be cool with it. Well, I mean, what the hell are we doing here?
Well,
I become a part of the problem at that point.
You're exactly right, and it's not adding up to me, But then again, I go back to, hey, are we just overthinking this, or like I said, knee-jerk reactions, or is things not like it seems on first sight? I don't know where to go with like this, with stuff like this, and I think you're the same way from the way it sounds.
Well, Mike, we'll see. I mean, I'm trying to hold my water as best I possibly can. 8479 says, I bet when you get your head shaved, you won't be so cynical. Maybe, I don't know. By the way, speaking of that, are you buying tickets? I'm getting to I saw the total tickets we've sold so far.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to believe that people don't want me to shave my head.
Is that so?
They just don't. I don't think y'all got the stones to show up. My hair is going to be just fine, ladies and gents. I ain't worried. I mean, I'm just telling you. We got like 300 tickets to go, 400 tickets to go.
Throwing down the gauntlet.
I mean, I don't think it's happening. I mean, come on. I think these folks in this listening audience love me so much that this ploy that we have dispatched on to attract people to the event at Nashville Palace, I think it's backfiring on us.
You think so?
I think they love me so much that they're like, I don't want to do that to Matt. I would love to go, but I'm going to stay home. I think that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, that sounds plausible.
You know, I mean, I would never want this fellow to have to shave his head on our account.
Right. Yeah.
We'll stay home. Or maybe they're holding off to buy tickets just to make sure that I'm not going to have to shave my head. One way or the other, y'all got a long way to go. 997WTN.com. Ain't going to see no buzzer there.
Show them. Just show them.
No, whatever. Y'all can pretend like y'all show me all you want. What do you think happened to Gene Hackman and his wife?
Yeah,
I have that theory.
That's a difficult one.
I
would say that, I mean, you'd have to imagine that the wife, something happened to the wife first.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hackman fell or whatever. I mean, he's 95 for crying out loud.
My theory, and it's not a pleasant one, but my theory is this. There were 3 dogs on property.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them were found alive. Authorities are saying tonight that they have found no evidence of carbon monoxide poisoning and no gas leaks.
Yep.
So that's kind of out the window. It was suggested earlier today, and I don't know that it's been confirmed, that Gene Hackman died a time before the wife. And if you don't know, Gene Hackman was 95. He was born in 1930. He had a wife, Faye Maltese. He had 3 children with that wife. He divorced her in 1986. He married his current wife, Betsy Arakawa. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Pardon me. She's a concert pianist. Married her in 1991. And she was considerably younger, like 31 years or 32 years younger than Gene Hackman. So she was in her 60s, and he was in his 90s. My theory, I don't know anything. I mean, this is pure speculation. I believe that Gene Hackman fell down, hit his head, and died in the mudroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that Betsy Arakawa was despondent, and I believe that she perhaps took her own life.
Wow.
As a result. And that the dog passed away at some point after that. Maybe by eating a pill. They found pills on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They're not talking about what kind of pills those are. This is my wild speculation, and I don't know if I'm right or not. The things that you need to look for to see if I am. I mean, what kind of pills are we talking about? Are there sleeping pills, or what are they? And then, what were the differences in time? We heard now I would suggest that the differences in, and I don't want to be too graphic, but decomposition could have been a result in their ages.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And I also heard something that he was in a mudroom, and I also heard something that about a door being ajar.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if he was in the mudroom, that's usually to the exterior.
Right.
If that was the door that was ajar, then the weather could have had an impact on.
Might be so. And I did see something about he had sunglasses lying next to him. So it might have been that he was coming inside.
Yeah.
Had just been outside. One way or the other, I mean, you feel, it's hard to feel bad for Gene Hackman.
Right.
95.
Yeah.
I mean, I think both of us would take it, right?
Sure.
I mean, in a heartbeat,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
95 years of age, a full life lived. You feel bad for Betsy Arakawa. One way or the other. I mean, she still had, obviously some good life in her, depending on what we find out. I did not know a number of things that I found out today about Gene Hackman, and nobody is talking about this. Did you know he was a United States Marine?
I did not.
I did not know that. Did you know that he joined he lied about his age to join the service?
Too young?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He was 16 years of age and joined the United States Marine in 1946 and served until 1951. He spent his sophomore year at Storm Lake High School, left home at the age of 16 and lied about his age to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. Had decided at the age of 10 that he wanted to act for a living. But he served 4.5 years as a field radio operator stationed in China first. And when the Communist Revolution conquered the mainland in China in 1949, he was assigned to Hawaii and Japan. Following his discharge in 1951, he moved to New York City, had several jobs. His mother died in 1962 as a result of a fire she accidentally started while smoking. He studied journalism and became a television producer at the University of Illinois under the GI Bill, eventually left and moved back to California before beginning a career in cinema. Any favorite role?
Too many of them. He was great in everything.
He was really good. Really, really good. Gene Hackman, not every actor can play bad and good.
Yeah, he could do it.
And he could do it.
He could really do it.
And play that, what was it, Popeye Doyle? Was that his name, I think? Yeah. In what was the name of the movie? French Lieutenant Swoman? Or The French Connection. French Connection. And that was kind of a little bit of a badass character, but there was some bad and good. French Connection, terrific, won a Best Actor Oscar for that one. Best Supporting Actor. My top three, my Mount Rushmore of movies includes Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman. Yeah. And my favorite scene, and I'm not just exaggerating because Gene Hackman just died. I believe it is my favorite. I will say one of my top 5 favorite scenes in all of movies happens at the end of Unforgiven when he comes back into the bar.
Yeah.
And says, "Who's the fella owns this bleep hole?" And that arc, how that completes the entire, the glorification of the old school gun shooter and him. And at the end, the writer's still alive. And he goes, "Oh, who did you shoot first?" "Well, Little Bill always said that an experienced gunfighter knows how to examine the room and knows who to shoot first." And he's like talking, and he's, "I don't know, I've always been lucky killing folks." And he goes, "Well," and then he asks him again. I may be screwing it up a little bit, but he says, "Well, who did you kill first?" And he turns the guns. "All I know is who's going to be last." And that's when the guy knew, he needs to get his
gone.
Anyway, Gene Hackman, dead at the age of 95. We'll, I'm sure, eventually find out what happened there. 53 after the hour. We'll wrap it up next on Super Talk. Well, friends, let's ask you some questions about your health insurance, shall we? I mean, look, here's the deal. I don't know the answers. I'm just going to tell you. I don't, but I know the guy that does. And that's pretty good, right? Shane Ring of Cover Nash. Shane is your local expert when it comes to all things health insurance. He's right here in Middle Tennessee. He knows that you don't have to pay for plans you don't need, and he knows when you are not getting maximum value for your dollar with your health insurance. 2 questions. Are you satisfied with your insurance? If you're not, you need to call Shane Ring and Cover Nash. And don't buy into this, it's not open enrollment, Murphy. It doesn't have to be open enrollment. You can call this man right now and take control of your money and your health coverage. The other question is, are you paying too much? If you don't know the answer to that, you need to call Shane and let him find that out as well. And he can find you where the savings are. He covers all of the insurance plans in the market, and he can help you with yours. Go to covernash.com to find out more. That's covernash.com or call 615-465-0023. That's 465-0023. Take control of your money and your health coverage managed by you, not by the government, with Cover Nash. Jason writes in, did you know that Gene Hackman believed in tsunamis? Well, callback.
Full circle right
I mean,
there,
that's
yeah.
a full circle 5 a.m. this morning callback. Yeah, he believed in tsunami. He lived through one. I mean, come on. You know what? If Dan Mandis was not in bed already, he would be rolling over in his bed as he can't believe that. I mentioned I didn't mention the Royal Tenenbaums. That was a great film.
Oh,
I thought he did a great job as Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
in
that's
Superman.
right. Yeah,
I mean,
he
for what
good.
that was. I don't know of anything that Gene Hackman did a poor job.
Birdcage. He was good in the Birdcage.
If you can steal and choose scenes away from Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, you're doing a job.
Yep.
He did a great job in that. Bonnie and Clyde, Mississippi Burning. He'll be missed. 95 years of age, a good long life lived. That's a good long show. It was bad for some, better for others. We'll try to do it again tomorrow at 3:05 or thereabouts. Dan Mandis in Nashville's Morning News comes up first. For Chris Weber, for Ken Weaver, Matt Murphy. Hope you have a great evening. The great one, Mark Levin, coming up next. Until next time, so long, everybody.